Maybe YouTube soon. Let's see. I guess I should actually check on poor YouTube since it often lags behind quite a bit. I'm gonna.
It's like I see two live streams for you, Mike.
Oh, on YouTube? Yeah, I think it has a glitch like that, which is really dumb. Like a thing pops up and says I need to create
It
a
says waiting
broadcast.
for Bitbeam on that one.
Yeah, this happened last time too. It makes no sense. It's like there's a disconnect between. So keep in mind though, we're still probably live on Twitch. So if I start swearing or
The first one's
monitoring
live, and the second one is
content.
waiting.
Okay. Yep. Let's see. I need to go to the live tab. Yep. So we are live on that one, and I'll just delete this one. There we go. And there was a way to go to the control room for that. What is it called? View live in control room. There we go. And once again, it's doing that thing as though it's not receiving. There we go. It woke up. All right. So I can see the control room on YouTube Studio now. Do you want to test maybe chat in the type in a chat in YouTube or Twitch? Anybody? Just so we know
I
we're
can do that.
live and it's working. Okay. And I should maximize OBS again on my side. So I can see what's going on there again. Yep, it's live here on YouTube. Okay, thanks, Corey. Sweet.
What?
Who said what? I heard you say.
You thank Corey for my message. It might have confused him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That I guess that's what happened. Yeah, that's how silly my brain is. The message it's live here on YouTube is above Corey's avatar. So I read it like a comic book. Corey said it may as well have been a word balloon.
I was about to say I wasn't there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. All right. Twitch is working too. Sweet. Okay. Thanks again, Corey. Just kidding. All right. All right, cool. Well, for now, I'm going to switch over to the game trailers for a minute or two, and we can test if people can hear us. So, Chris, would you mind like turning up the volume in a minute? Like once you see the game trailers, turn the volume up on the stream and see if you can hear like us speaking as an echo. And remember, no vulgarities because people might still be able to hear us even though it's not synced up. So anyway, let's do a quick. I'm going to switch over to the game trailers. Boss Room, second playable character. Mix things up even more with tag team mode, where one or two players can swap who's playing at any point during the battle to save mankind. Swap in to let the other character or player regain health for a while. Right now, Damon Claw's in early adopter status. It includes the complete Mega Drive version and the currently work-in-progress modern version. And once it's ready, you'll also be able to play the Neo Geo version. Over the course of many frequent updates, Damon Claw's modern and Neo Geo versions will continue to be finished and refined. And speaking of replay value, far beyond just the differences in visuals and audio between these three versions of Damon Claw, the second playable character for each of them will be exclusive to each version, with very different appearances, abilities, and playstyles. Join the battle to save humanity from the varied Zverkin armies and help us make the two unfinished versions of Damon Claw the best they can be with your valued feedback. We really appreciate your support and hope you have a blast.
This is Metal Mac, bringing back action-packed run-and-gun gaming to the classic consoles you love. With an original soundtrack by legendary game musicians Chris Hulsbeck and Alistair Brimble. Featuring tons of platforming challenges, combat variety, and special ability upgrades. Back the retro physical editions for your classic console. Upgrade to deluxe editions for extra collectibles, or get them as add-ons. You can also get a Steam Digital Edition, which will let you play both versions of the game. Inspired by your favorite classic games with new surprises. With a wide variety of levels, boss fights, gameplay styles, and plenty yet to be revealed. In the future, humanity's robots have gone rogue, and only our hero Metal Mac can save the day. Back it now, while you can.
This is Metro Siege, bringing true 16-bit beat-em-up action that feels different at its core. Featuring sophisticated combat with blocks, grabs, counterattacks, many ways to hit enemies while they're down, and more. With an atmosphere and aesthetic more closely based on the vigilante movies that inspired the genre. The combat in Metro Siege is designed to keep the player engaged, weighing risk versus reward and adapting to the ever-changing situation. Hold block to defend from weak attacks, but stronger attacks might still do some damage, knock you back, or knock you down. A perfectly timed block, however, will parry and automatically counterattack, doing bonus damage to the enemy. Will you take the extra risk of a perfectly timed block to beat an enemy with style, to get back much needed health in a pinch? Or do you keep your distance, play defensively, and let player 2 handle things? While there are many safe ways to hit enemies while they're down, you could deal extra damage more quickly with a knee drop. But if an enemy moves out of the way, you'll be the one taking damage, and be left prone to attacks yourself. Metro Siege is in production for Amiga, Neo Geo, and PC, and we're carefully crafting each version to add differences in gameplay and maximize the visual quality for each platform. To fit the large amount of character animations on the Amiga version, we made each frame from reusable body part images, but for Neo Geo it will all be hand-drawn for maximum quality and fluidity, and everything on screen will use more color and have greater detail and variety. The modern version uses the Neo Geo graphics as a base, but makes it widescreen, adds translucent effects, highly customizable CRT filters, and more. Back Metro Siege now for the system you love, or get the digital version and check out the cool collectibles like the soundtrack CD, deluxe trading cards, or the Bitbeam bonus round strategy guide magazine with behind the scenes and making of articles, interviews, a Metro Siege art gallery, and more. Are you up for the challenge? Back it now, bring a friend.
Right, Alex.
Yeah.
Press the button again. Stage 1, ready? Oh yeah, that's a grab attempt.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels pretty good. Okay, alright. This game's good. Game's good.
Damon Claw takes things back to classic fast-action arcade gaming with frantic combat against non-stop swarms of enemies and sophisticated boss fights. After some practice, a player can battle through from the beginning to the gratifying victory over the final boss in a single sitting. Damon Claw offers a classic arcade-style experience. It's not a platformer, and there's no backtracking or grinding, just non-stop combat progression until you reach the final showdown. Mix things up with 3 difficulty settings, a sophisticated scoring system, additional play modes such as survival and boss rush, and a very different second playable character. Mix things up even more with tag team mode, where 1 or 2 players can swap who's playing at any point during the battle to save mankind. Swap in to let the other character or player regain health for a while. Right now, Damon Claw's in early adopter status. It includes the complete Mega Drive version and the currently work-in-progress modern version. And once it's ready, you'll also be able to play the Neo Geo version. Over the course of many frequent updates, Damon Claw's modern and Neo Geo versions will continue to be finished and refined. And speaking of replay value, far beyond just the differences in visuals and audio between these 3 versions of Damon Claw, the second playable character for each of them will be exclusive to each version, with very... Hey everybody, hey Hatchet 2KF, thanks for joining us. Oh, you caught a bit of the first stream. Thanks very much for joining us, and for tolerating the very low production value first stream. This second one promises to only be slightly better at best. But this time, as you can see, Corey and Chris are with us, so that's cool. So there can be better chatting going on. And Chris and I are going to play. Let me know, can you hear the Metro Siege music, Hatchet 2K4? Torden Live. Hey Torden Live, thanks for joining us. Hatchet or Torden, can you let us know, can you hear the Metro Siege music right now? I have a feeling you might not be able to hear it, and I can fix that, I think.
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Oh, you can hear... Oh, yeah, but I'm sharing my screen with you, which might be sharing the audio, I'm not sure. Or do you mean you turned up the... Like on YouTube or something, you turned up the volume? Oh, you can hear it. Okay, very cool. Alright, very cool. Alright. And balanced. Great. Yeah, I think I fixed... It was ridiculous what I had to do to fix my microphone volume, always lowering automatically. But I think I have that fixed. Yeah, your replies are delayed by certainly several seconds, especially on YouTube. But anyway, so Chris, were you able to enter the password I gave you in Game ID and then click connect?
Yep. It timed out though because we didn't start.
Ah, darn it. So let me go back into options. And
You don't have to reset anything, I don't think. You can just start.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Network, do I need to choose connect? Connect. Okay. Alright, I connected, so hopefully when you connect, we should match up with each other. So Chris and I are just going to play through the demo of Metro Siege once. Sweet. Okay, so I am player 1, it would seem. Who would you rather be? Would you rather be Alex, Chris?
It doesn't matter to me.
Alright, so I will be Alex. And there you go.
Didn't you
So
guys
this
set it
is-
up where you can be the same character? Isn't that a feature?
There is a way to do that, but I don't know if this demo allows it. And once the game is done, the characters will actually kind of have alternate skins so that the gameplay is the same, but you don't have two identical looking characters on screen fighting. And this is a near pixel perfect rendition or replica of the Amiga version. Hey, Andy Parator, am I saying that right? Thanks for joining us. I think you were here in the first stream as well. Thanks very much for joining us. So we're just playing the demo of Metro Siege. Do you remember how to pick stuff up, Chris? You hold attack.
Yeah, I know
and
how to
tap
pick
down
stuff
when you're
up.
standing there. Awesome. Okay. And then Kim cannot grab. She does the taser instead.
I'm at full health, the other one that needs the burger.
Oh, trust me, I don't need any burgers. Not in real life, I mean.
What you really want is the turkey.
To do-
right?
Yeah, exactly. To do the knee drop, I don't know if you remember, Chris, jump up and then tap down quickly twice. Like double tap down. But careful, if you miss the person, you hurt yourself. Like so. Ouch.
I wanted to get Grandma's chocolate out of the mailbox.
Yeah. Her ribbon candy.
Yeah. Children love candy.
Will there ever be a way to get revenge on the immovable mailbox?
I want to report a bug.
to be destroyed.
I really want to punch this yellow-haired guy, but I can't.
Oh, yeah.
The blonde guy, I want to just beat the crap out of him, but they won't let me.
Yeah, there's no friendly fire mode in this game. The only way is to throw an enemy into your ally.
Do I have to double tap down or something to do the ground
Knee
attack?
drop, yeah, exactly. You jump up and then tap down twice quickly.
Oh, there we go. I was wondering why I couldn't do it. Then I remembered it was double down.
Correct. The trash cans and those plastic bins that hold newspapers and stuff, those can be destroyed and give you the typical trash turkey or trash burgers, but the mailbox is bolted to the ground and pretty indestructible, as mailboxes tend to be.
Are we allowed to make terrible puns like Ken's electric personality and stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely. The more the better.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we'd lose what few viewers we have if we did that.
That might be the
Metal.
case.
I was gonna say Metal Mac could probably destroy the mailbox though.
Hey, that's what we'll do But for members only, so people have to pay to get it, we'll add a button where they could click and it'll play a groan sound and make like an avatar appear rolling their eyes at all our dad jokes.
Right.
Good old Officer Bob, designed and mostly pixeled by Corey here. By mostly, I mean at least 99%. I don't remember if I did anything in like the final bit of getting it fully working in Metro Siege, but basically
Yeah, I think-
Corey's gonna be Corey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as that process goes, there might have been, when you were getting it working in the game, there might have been like little animation
Tweaks or
tweaks
whatever,
yeah.
I want to eat his donuts, but I can't.
Report all bugs to Alex Brown. Care of, mail it to him. I'll flash his P.O. box. You can if you're good enough, which I'm definitely too tired to be good today.
I want to pick up the litter, but I can't.
Yeah, I'll definitely be.
Imagine someone actually complaining about that.
Yeah. I want to
clean up the
read.
streets.
I want to read what's on that slip of paper, and I can't. This game is ass.
It's exactly driving me nuts. I don't know what it says.
Oh, we got him. I was just. Oh no, well, but he did. If you're really good and you tag team him, Bob, you can stop him from ever getting his riot gear, potentially even the donuts as well. But you'd have to do some really well-timed combo moves to keep him kind of stuffed up. And I don't mean nasally.
Were these donuts made fresh this
Thank
morning?
you, Hatchet. Yeah. Well, talk about old dad jokes referencing 80s Dunkin' Donuts commercials. That may have even been back when Dunkin' Donuts
Time to
was
make
like
the donut.
purely East Coast. How are
That's
there
true. I
Dunkin'
should go back
Donuts
in
where
time.
you are, Corey? Yeah.
You mean Dunkin' Donuts itself, or the
Yeah, like the franchise
advertisements?
stores. Yeah.
It
Not
became
stores, whatever.
so nationwide that it's around here too. Yeah.
Okay, but like in the
So-
80s, probably not so much, right? That's what I'm thinking. I think it started on the East Coast, maybe?
I don't know about the 80s. I'm not sure.
But yeah, there were great commercials with that fat guy with the mustache that would always drag his exhausted butt out of bed at like 6 in the morning. Say time to make the donuts. It was a really famous ad campaign that lasted many years.
One of my few truly ancient childhood memories is a vague memory that our mom used to work at Dunkin' when we were really tiny.
Yeah, super young, yeah.
I don't think she did for very long though.
Yeah, no, it was short-lived, and I think she was still literally in her teens at that point. Oof. Oh yeah, I should mention there are counterattacks. Obviously, you've seen there are several ways to hit enemy spots.
Why don't you grab your cigarette butt burger?
There's not a lot of sesame seeds, but there's one bent up lipstick covered cigarette filter stuck to the bun.
My favorite thing to do is to grab turkey full health items when I'm almost fully healthy.
Yeah, exactly. But when your partner is nearly like 1 pixel.
Oh yeah,
from
that's the best time.
yeah.
Your
1
partner's
pixel
on death's
from
door.
death. Yeah.
It does create an opportunity. I don't know, I'm not suggesting you add this. Obviously, you are the designer of the game, Mike. But
Yeah. Oops.
imagine a health pickup that actually heals both characters.
I hate my own knees.
Yeah, exactly. I just sabotaged Chris. I killed an enemy out from under his knee drop. That was very funny. So as you can see, if anyone
Kind of serious. Can I kill myself by kneeing
knee
myself?
dropping, I'm pretty sure, or it might be once you're near death. Yeah, you just did, didn't you?
I used to be a street fighter like you, and I took a cement ground to the knee.
Yeah, just snuck up on both your kneecaps at the same time to pavement. So, yeah, there's several ways to hit enemies while they're down, including throwing enemies onto enemies that are down. The safe way, which is just the low kick, and there is the knee drop, but enemies can either die out of the way, get back up out of the way, or future enemies in other levels will be able to roll just like you can. So to show you, I can do a secret move to end up on the ground, if I can time it well. It takes really specific... There we go. You can see how I can avoid getting up, although the cinematic automatically makes me get up to chase Bob into the train. But the point is, you could roll up and down into the depth of the screen to potentially avoid enemies trying to hit you while you're down. But enemies later on can do the same, so if you try to knee drop an enemy, they could bait you into doing it, and then roll out of the way, and you could hurt yourself.
Hey, I just saw Ian, that's my son's name.
Yeah, that's why that's there, yeah.
I know.
I think all our kids' names are in graffiti in the game so far.
My seat is my adopted kid's name.
That JMP is my youngest daughter, Julie Morgan Parent. And then there's Alice Claire Parent, my oldest daughter, who just turned 20 this Sunday. Happy birthday, Alice. Sorry, I just pronounced her name the French way. We live here in France.
We're gonna make the game look easy.
Yeah, I mean, we've played this, especially me, a million times.
I remember mentioning to Corey that you and I would play every Super Nintendo game 2-player, so we ended up thinking these hard games were easy, where other people played it 1-player. We were like ripping through Super Contra like it was nothing. Then you hear people say it was a hard game, and you're like, really? When you have player 2, like, nuking everybody.
I do think the Contra game, or maybe that one, was easier with 2 players. Like, you could you take, like, there wasn't a difference other than adding a character, you know?
Yeah, in other words, they didn't add more enemies or make enemy bullets fly faster or things like that. I had it easy, though. Like, I got to brag that we beat all these 2-player games together, but it was mostly Chris dragging my ass. Like, I'd use up all the lives and continues, but or the majority of them, but we'd still win. And then I could brag, I beat such and such game. Do you want to try playing again? Let's see if it's still connected, Chris. If we go, are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
No, I mean literally, if you move, can you move? We might literally have to reconnect because we finished the demo.
It booted me out, but I can reconnect.
Yeah. Well, I might have to reconnect too. I think I will. So, options...
My site's just waiting.
Connect. Okay. Yep, that works.
There you go.
Okay. Alright, do you want to play one more time? Maybe this time you be Alex.
Should we wait in case more people come in and want to see...
Nah, we've got plenty to do. I'm going to play through Daemon Claw later to the PC version.
This time I'll be Metro Siege's programmer.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, most Hatchet was saying that most Contra games are easier.
There'll be a lot more people flying now.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Well, now's your chance. Now you can hit, but now it's Kim you'll be hitting. And
oh, that guy really wanted you. I think he wanted your number.
Yeah. He likes a girl that leaves stuff to the imagination.
Why did I flop down that hard? What am I doing? Like a wrestling move?
She's not dressed like an undercover prostitute like Kim in Streets of Rage.
Ow, right in the face. That's alright. I have a burger to solve that.
Did I say Kim from Streets of Rage? I meant Blaze. I'm not sure if I said the right thing.
I'm glad
Because up
burgers
until-
can cure broken noses and shattered eye sockets.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely.
My orbital bone is broken. Burger.
Did a 400-pound man just pile drive you into the concrete? Don't worry. Have a nutritious trash burger you found in a urban trash.
Sorry if I'm really interrupting too. I can barely hear you over the music of the game.
Oh, you can set your volume lower in Volume Mixer. You certainly should.
Yeah, it should be a burger vending machine or something.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Chris, if you opened this in the same browser you have Video Ninja opened in, then if you lower the volume of Metro Siege, you might lower.
Oh, I think I just threw that guy on you.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying that's the way you could hit me.
Ooh, phone. Now I have to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
So while
Did I just do it?
Yep. So while Kim cannot grab, she has these tonfa she uses have a built-in taser, which can electrocute whole groups of people at a time if they're in close proximity. And also she's got a special combo move right there. Where, right there. It's almost like a little Hadoken type gamepad movement. And if you pull it off and the confa jab hits, then she follows through with a kick.
Yeah.
After you grab someone, Chris, do you know how to, if you hold up and press attack, you'll do an attack sequence.
Alright.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you don't work on the fat guys, or you can't grab them in the first place?
He breaks out very quickly, so most of the time you can do it to him.
Oh yeah, that was instant.
Yep. It's slightly random, but you'll almost never get a full attack sequence out of it. But just like in Streets of Rage 2, if you jump straight up by just tapping the button and then immediately tap the tap back, you'll jump backwards.
Got you again.
She deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, food healing all wounds is one of gaming's earliest tropes. Yeah, I would say that's true. Makes more sense than Chupa Chups. Or, you know, at least burgers and turkey have a lot of protein.
Right. Yeah, some games would use like med kits and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's less interesting, I guess. It's a little more generic.
Yeah, and you know the whole thing about how the people that own the Swiss Army knife symbol are like super litigious, which is why first aid kits never have that like I don't know if it's a Swiss Army thing, but the, like, you know what I mean, like that white cross on the red background, I think it is.
Wow.
That's why they never use it in games, because it's copyright.
There's probably a specific version, I guess, that's
Or like old games, or obviously fan-made games. They don't.
Bob's just chilling. Oh, we did it right, yeah.
Yeah. Bob doesn't like to perform without his entourage, so when we kill him all, he calls in more of his lackeys. There you go. What do you guys think about Kickstarter support for the Amiga, Steam, Retro, and Neo Geo communities? That's a very interesting question. Tordent Live, Torden Live, sorry. Your name is showing up as a very dark blue font and a black background, so it's hard for my old eyes to see. But definitely, and I think most people could imagine this, the more you're going to get the most funding from the Mega Drive and Neo Geo communities than you are from the Amiga community. but a good chunk of the Amiga community did show up and support Metro Siege quite well. So, in general, developing retro games, if you haven't already built up a very big fan base and infrastructure, what happened? Why is the game stuck?
Oh, it's waiting for me.
Yeah, but like this is a bug, or maybe it timed out for some reason. Because you automatically were supposed to go get the gun and come back. So yeah, like we found a bug. Send all bug reports. We're live. Let's call Alex Brown now
No.
and harass him about this
What time is it over
bizarre
there?
online bug we found.
No telling.
Yeah, he's in Australia. What time is it over there?
In a different dimension.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we might as well just close this here. And I am going to get into, right after I play through the PC version of Damon Claw, I'm going to get into a little bit of actually productive work on the Amiga version of Metro Siege, specifically working on this work in progress warehouse level, which was looking like this. And I've done more work since then with the help of another artist who I can't remember his nickname. I think this was... I always called him Froggy, but it wasn't Froggy. I can't remember what his alias was, but forgive me if you end up seeing this pre-recorded live stream. But anyway, you could see we added the forklift and this like movable shelf here, and put a bunch of packing type stuff on this table. So basically all I need to do is make this actually 16 color compliant, so it's going to look bizarre in the graphics program, and then color tricks and stuff like that, hardware banging on the Amiga, are going to fill in the missing colors to make it look like this again in the actual game. But I might just start today by cleaning up, for example, this overhead light here. And but I'll get back into that later. So for now, Murphy loves this. I don't know who Murphy is. That Simon. Hi, Simon Bernacchia, I think. That's a reference I don't get. Maybe I missed an earlier comment. Excellent pronunciation, just call me Torden. Okay. Alright, let me get back to Chrome. And editor. Get back into construct. Oh wow, it logged out. That's a pain in the butt. Luckily it remembered the password and stuff. Let's see. Almost done loading up Damon Claw for the modern Damon Claw. Construct updated itself. I played through a little earlier today, and it's clear that the update to Construct itself introduced two, I think, new little bugs. But as always, when you're working in a development system that is being updated, there's always the risk of that happening, and you could decide to stick with an older version or the past build of the authoring system, or you could fix the bug. Oh, and it logged me out again somehow. That's brilliant. Log in. Keep me logged in. I checked that, I swear. Alright. Oh, it's open in two windows now. There we go. Okay. Oh, Murphy's Law, of course. Okay, there we go. And it did remember my settings. I have it set just so you guys can see on the modern version. You can set scan lines. Oh, that was windowed mode. Scan lines on, off, or on, normal, or small. I prefer small. You can make the blurriness greater or not blurry at all. You can turn it off. To really get that kind of CRT type stuff going on, and you could super fisheye it if you want to look like you're looking out of a submarine window or cruise ship window or something. Old cruise ship window. But anyway, let's get back. Can you hear the game's music at all, guys, or is it too quiet? Or at all? Can you hear the music at all? The Damon Club music. The game sounds. This is the moment where the little delay in the stream can be a little annoying. Ah, yeah, you can't live stream a demo or show off a demo without a bug being found. Absolutely. Now I completely understand the full context of Murphy. All right, let's see. I'll just play. I'll assume you guys can hear it.
I at least checked it on YouTube, and
Okay.
it sounds like the audio's coming through.
Okay.
For the game, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not
Skyzoo,
too-
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on Twitch I can hear him moving the finger around.
All right. I will lower the sound effects a little.
Yeah, it is a little low compared to,
Okay.
I guess, Metro Siege gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think this will be fine. I'll save it. Alrighty. So here's the game in its full CRT glory. And let's see. I will just dive in and play. So one of the funny bugs that got introduced with this new version of Construct, confirm is like low. Sorry, Simon, I can't make it much louder without, on my end, it drowning out, so I won't be able to hear Chris or Corey speak. So I'll try to work on that further between this and the next live stream. I'm still very new at learning how to set up everything for live streams. So this modern version of Damon Claw uses Corey's beautiful Neo Geo graphics, but it's widescreen. We've got all these like CRT filter scanline options, and I went a step further and added actual semi-translucent effects in key places. So you'll notice there's a subtle glow or semi-translucency for some explosions, dust when something lands on the ground, all those kind of things. Magic, you'll see later on. And it's got the great music, same music as the Mega Drive version by Alistair Grimble, but slightly enhanced. Oops, I meant to drop kick. But yeah, I started saying this before. There's definitely a several second gap between the like real life for me, Chris and Corey, and the live stream that you guys are watching. There's a several second delay.
Right. Yeah, Alistair was kind enough to also provide a sort of little bit enhanced version of each track for the game.
Yeah. A fantastic musician and super nice guy, really easy to work with. It was very impressive with both Damon Claw and Metal Mac, how quickly he adapted to like for Metal Mac, what you guys were saying the music should be like, and
I've been very pleased with what he's done so far, and usually nails it with not a ton
almost
of it,
no need
but
for
necessary.
feedback.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, it was the same with Damon Claw. Like the title screen, it was sounding awesome from his first attempt at making the title screen, but because it was our game, we were like, hey, could you try this or this, because these things aren't exactly what we imagined for, the world of Damon Claw. And then he just, that one extra tweak, and then he just had it, and every other song took almost no feedback at all. A lot of them took no feedback to just get perfect. And the really cool thing about Metal Mac is that you have not only Brimble making songs, but also Chris Hallsbeck. So that's shaping out to be a truly awesome soundtrack. For a great game, too. That's looking ever more awesome.
I think Simon has asked about Devil Mask, of whether Alistair used Devil Mask.
Yep.
I think he did for Damon Claw, correct? From what I remember.
Yeah, I think we all kind of, not that I make music, but I think it's switched over to, what's the other program's name? That Furnace? Is it Furnace?
Furnace, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Damon Claw was, as far as I recall, completely Devil Mask. So here's a level where you could see actual translucent effects very easily with that fog layer at the bottom.
Nice, yeah.
Just add some really nice atmosphere.
On the actual Neo Geo graphics, I had to sort of bake that in and fake it. That fog.
Animated
fog. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, the Neo Geo is super powerful, but the only kind of translucent effect it has any hope of doing, which I actually never saw used in a real game for Neo Geo, but apparently it is possible, is to do the same kind of scanline palette change, like how they make water for games like Sonic the Hedgehog, where they just change all 4 palettes after a certain scan line to darken everything and make it tinted blue for water. So apparently the Neo Geo is actually capable of that too. Last I knew, according to Eric, the creator of Scorpion Engine, but I've never seen that used. But otherwise, whenever you see translucent effects on the Neo Geo, it's baked right into the art. So it was a lot of extra work on the artist, and thank goodness the Neo Geo can display an enormous amount of sprites, and each of them can display using the 16-color palette. But the crazy thing is, while the Mega Drive can display 4 16-color palettes on the screen, the Neo Geo can display up to 256 16-color palettes on screen. That's incredible.
Yeah. Probably more than you'll ever need. Yeah.
Exactly. For all intents and purposes, it might as well be unlimited palettes, because I doubt any game ever came close to using all 256 16-color palettes on screen at a time.
You would have to be having a really crazy multicolor screen.
Like a psychedelic.
Yeah.
So a little bit of lore in the design, and you can actually, for those who are members or patrons, you could actually see the video where Corey and I had the creative meeting for that sub-boss I just killed. And if you wonder why his shield looks that way and has 2 dark metal kind of fangs or prongs pointing down, the idea was that's how he can block these lightning attacks that I have, is that he's actually grounding the shield into the ground, and it's funneling the electric current basically down into the earth. But yeah, for our patrons for a long time, when we have creative meetings, which now Chris has participated in a few of them, we actually record the creative meeting live in the moment and then put it up for our Patreon patrons and now for members on YouTube as well. So there's already a few of those videos, so it's pretty cool to be able to kind of sit in on the creative process and witness exactly who. And I think the reason Corey suggested we start doing that is I kept stealing credit for all his ideas. I'm kidding. Boy, that's a great idea I just had, Corey. Thanks for reminding me. Furnace I tried, but still a bit cryptic for me. Yeah, it's one of those tricky things, like everything has a learning curve. The pixel art program that Corey and I use for almost exclusively, at least on my end, I've been using for nearly 20 years now, with different iterations of the program. And if you're used to things like Photoshop or more modern tools, there's an enormous learning curve. It's different because it was based on Deluxe Paint for the Amiga, and then also Brilliance for the Amiga. But
yeah, I did go through that learning curve myself many years back because I was more Photoshop centric before using ProMotion, but it is a great tool. It's
so powerful for like
for pixel art specifically and palette management and stuff like that for retro games. It's probably unmatched, I would say.
Like especially when you want to make real pixel art for retro consoles, like it needs to actually fit the color bit depth, and when you really care about how many tiles you're using and that kind of thing, it's unbeatable ProMotion. I knew I was going to die, but hey, in this in the PC version, since it's still a work in progress, we start people out with a 99 lives, so I'm not worried about it too much. But that's one interesting thing. I'm experimenting with the gameplay, and I always forget. On the PC version right now, you can't drop kick the toads because they're spiked, which kind of makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, you'll actually get hurt. At least while if you drop kick them while they're spinning. I think that's the case.
Was that the original intended design, and maybe that just
probably
wasn't present in Mega Drive or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't recall if you could do it in Mega Drive or not. You know.
Yep.
I don't know if I even tried it.
Yeah, exactly. Another interesting bit of trivia on the change in gameplay design of Damon Claw is I had not come up with the bouncing purple ball idea for air bashing enemies, and at first it was built into the design of only the toads because they turn into a spiked ball naturally when they jump. So the original design was only the toads would do that if you air bash them, and only if you air bash them while they were already jumping and in their spiked ball mode. Right. But then that was so fun, and I needed to make the purple magic more fun and interesting. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna make it so if you air bash any enemy that's in the air, it'll basically get encased in that purple energy. And
because that was the art as I made it. It was
for the toad,
meant to be for the toad, exactly. Yep. So that's why it looks like that spiky ball. I believe it's possible I did make a version for the insects afterward.
Right. Yeah.
But it either didn't
but they
make
would
it
have
into
not
Mega Drive itself. Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. Like in the original design, only the toad bounced, and you didn't even need the magic power. It was just a nature of the toad. It was like a bouncy, air-filled, spiked ball. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it was just the nature of the toad. But then it became, if you have the magic, we'll do
I
that
see what you
for
mean,
any
because
airbashed enemy.
I think the insect version was probably just the typical air bash to the ground version. You know what I mean? And I think it ended up just like, well, for consistency, we'll use the spike ball version.
Yeah. One thing I did add to the PC version that's really nice for gameplay, especially in this boss, is you actually can turn around mid-roll, which changes your direction you're facing, but not your momentum. So it's really nice for going past the tentacle to tease it to get it to slap at you, but then turn around mid-roll and hit it. I'll demonstrate when they're active again. Nope, this guy keeps wanting to. That killed him quick. Probably too quick, I'll have to tweak that. That took too much, did too much damage to the boss. I remember one of the first versions of ProMotion was like a D-Paint on Windows and a bit confusing. In 2006. Yeah, that was 10 years ago. Obviously, even an artist can do that now. I'm pretty sure ProMotion existed before that, but I'm terrible with remembering dates and times, so I might be wrong. Do either of you want to try to Google that, Chris? When was the first... Oh, the bug just showed up that was introduced in this new version of Construct. There's some kind of way now where if I get hit, I get stuck with the kind of moonwalk backward momentum from the hit long after I should still have it. It goes away quick. It's one of those things you can really notice if you're the one controlling the player, but you might not be able to tell just by watching someone play.
Right.
Always fun to air bash a flying enemy right into the face of one of the bipedal enemies on the ground. Oops, that was a bug. React properly, that gargoyle that I just air bashed the gargoyle into.
I do appreciate the translucency here of the waterfalls.
Yeah, it just gives it that kind of... Like, I tried to keep things tasteful, so it's very similar styles of use of translucent pixels, like Super Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen too many fake retro pixel art games that suddenly have, like, super fuzzy 24-bit particle effects all over the screen. And to me, that looks like it's a mismatch. It looks kind of distasteful. So I want to keep it very... and definitely give me a reality check, Corey. If you see... Like, if you end up testing this or seeing footage, and if I've gone too far with any of the effects, let me know and I'll pull it back a bit.
I don't think so. I think everything's been
so
a
far,
positive enhancement, yeah.
There's a little bug there. Doesn't activate properly after his initial growl. I got really good at the timing with the thing that does the most damage against him, so I'm gonna make quick work of him. Basically hitting him with the full-powered ice column in the underbelly when he's trying to lunge at you and grab you is very effective. Little secret gameplay tip there. There we go.
Yeah, there were probably, with the gargoyle boss, I think that was the one boss in the game that I didn't struggle to fight, but I struggled to figure out the best ways to fight him myself, like testing. But but yeah, there's a lot of ways to defeat him. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very active, too. You really got to stay on your toes. Spoiler alert coming up, guys. This is nearing the end of Damon Claw. So if you've not seen the final boss yet, it's after this stretch of this dwarf section.
Yep.
I love the slight bit of chaos that can happen in this level with the friendly fire of the dwarfs' rockets and the drones. Hitting the drones into dwarfs like I just did there. It's really fun. And you can hit dwarfs into drones too, that also works. I'm gonna have to check my phone in a minute. Somebody's messaging me. Oh! Well, now's a good time. I'm gonna pause and I'm going to switch back over to the game. Unless you guys want to chat. Let me practice doing that too. Like, I will just turn off my camera and mute my mic. Let me see where that is. See if I can pull this off. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me or not. I'm gonna mute in 3, 2, 1.
You said you were muted, and then we could hear you. Right. Do you want me to check if I can hear you on Twitch? think the only thing I hear on Twitch is mine and Corey's AC units. Be not boring. That's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, Simon in the chat mentioned can't stand the PS1 style 32-bit light effects on like modern retro games. I do agree. There's a lot of like when somebody will take like a layer of kind of too heavy of like gradients and stuff, like modern smooth gradients, and throw it on top of pixel art that kind of by its very nature already has a lot of shading applied. It can look a little weird. I agree with that. I think there's a limit to how much an artist can get away with and it still look a little authentically pixel art, you know?
Yeah, it might break retro immersion. Like you no longer believe you're playing a retro console if you're suddenly seeing 32-bit graphical effects.
Exactly. Yeah. I think a better way to handle that, and I might have done this a little bit with Damon Call, but I've done it on other projects in the past. You can kind of bake some lighting in. Like if you do have a bunch of extra memory or something for a different system and you still want it to look decently pixel art, you can kind of like paint in lighting and then apply it to the pixel art and make it use the pixel art palettes that already exist. And that can give you a better look for like extra shading you want to do, but not break that immersion as much.
I mean, that's part of the reason why Bitbeam Canon makes the games targeting real consoles, right? So that you have to work within those real confines. You can't just break through the wall and use modern PC features whenever you feel like it.
Absolutely. I'm back, by the way, guys. I just got back and I unmuted, so now there's people on the
Which is why some of those super cartridges are a bit iffy too, you know?
Can you hear me,
if you've
Chris?
got
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well,
if you've got like the equivalent of a 80 supercomputer on a chip in a cartridge, you're not really playing a Mega Drive game anymore if that thing's doing anything.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I think people like us, guys, especially Corey and myself, are like doubly bothered when there's a mismatch. So there can be a stylistic mismatch which can bother even people that don't understand the technical constraints. In other words, like just retro pixel art people are used to seeing certain things and they know something from a later generation is out of place, like super smooth filtered rotations or too many like 24-bit alpha blended particle effects all over the screen. But from our standpoint, Corey, the other thing is we know
style mismatch.
Well, it's not just a style, like that could bother everybody, but we also appreciate the fact that from a technical standpoint, like they're emulating the limitations in arbitrary ways of retro systems, but then completely breaking those same limitations in ways that don't work well together.
Yes.
Or it's like you and I have talked before, Corey, about how sometimes in modern aspiring pixel art groups and forums, you'll see someone posted art and it's like, here's my pixel art portrait of a beautiful young woman, and it's got like a super gradated 24-bit sky as the background, using like 100 and something colors and super subtle shades, and then this beautiful young woman who's supposed to have porcelain smooth skin, there's dithering in her face that makes it look like she has a 5 o'clock shadow. So it's like that aspiring pixel artist knew that dithering is an aesthetic that people associate with pixel art, but he doesn't understand why it was used back then, and that there's good and bad times to use dithering. And if you can afford to use 100 and something shades of subtle sky color in the background of the same pixel art, why on earth would you have a super choppy range of skin tones that you need to checkerboard dither on a beautiful
Right,
young woman. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. But again, like modern fake retro can be done really well. Like Shovel Knight, they were copying the 8-bit color palette aesthetic and fairly low res, but it was also widescreen and had way more layers of parallax scrolling than
probably way more sprites and things
exactly.
going on too than a real NES game could have. Yeah,
but it kept, like, it set its own set of rules and it stuck to that well. So even though it had way more layers of scrolling, like
that I think that's a good
aesthetic.
point. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. Is you still kind of have to, even if you're going to use arbitrary limitations, it still requires a set of rules, right? You have to kind of decide those things ahead of time, what you're going to try to do or not do. I think another thing that, I was going to say another thing that relates to that sort of like modern effects thrown on top of modern pixel art games is it's also the amount of effects. Like I see a lot of platformers, I keep an eye on a lot of that stuff, that they use pixel art or it's sometimes not always pixel art, but modern platformer 2D games. And it's a widescreen format and they make the main character super tiny on screen.
Oh,
it bothers me a lot. And I don't know how many developers realize they're doing this consciously, but the attempt to compensate for that is done through special effects and overusing special effects to the point where, where it's like the guy's doing a few sword moves and it's like you can't see the guy anymore when the sword moves are going on. You know what I mean? It's like it's nothing but the effects. And it's so heavy that I'm like, do they realize they're doing this, or is it?
Yeah, and like
to me, it's not great because I want to see the characters and their expressiveness and body language. Yeah,
like that's the thing is like they found a beautiful balance, even with super low resolution screens like the 8-bit and even Super Nintendo, the 8-bit Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Oh yeah, this is the other bug. Look at this. We're literally soft locked in the game. Luckily, I could quit out and skip back this. But like this was not happening before. But something about the new Construct build made it super sensitive, and there's probably like a half pixel wide collision box stopping the dwarf from successfully falling down to the trapdoor, so he keeps trying. It's very funny. But anyway, I'll just quit out of that, and then I can use the cheat key to skip right to the final boss
fight.
The
dwarf is trying, I was going to say the dwarf's trying to not spoil the end, the last boss.
Like, it's not that it's spectacular, but out of all of the Damon Claw art I did, I'm the most proud, ironically, of that final boss portrait, because to me it doesn't look like I drew it. Like, it's not my typical style. Like, you guys might not notice as much as me. You might be thinking, what are you, crazy? That's exactly your style. But, like, design-wise and aesthetic-wise, that's different than what I would usually do.
Yeah, Simon in the chat was recommending a game called Eternal Castle. That sounds neat. I'd have to check it out.
Oh, I thought he was joking about the dwarf eternally jumping in the hole, because he said you have a new power source there, which I think he's talking about the infinitely jumping dwarf. Or we could throw grapes down there and he could make wine.
It's maybe he can clarify, but it's possible he's talking about the new, like, different gauntlet effect in the final boss fight.
Oh yeah, please do clarify, Simon. I think part of the problem is I can only check on the glance at the chat every once in a while, so I might miss the context of
with the delays and stuff. We're not exactly sure, but that was a choice we made. We wanted there to be sort of a unique but familiar version of the gauntlet in the final boss. You know, it's like you shouldn't struggle with learning it necessarily, but it's still kind of more powerful fire gauntlet, I guess, in a way.
Oh yeah, you just saw 2 attacks that don't exist in the Mega Drive or Neo Geo version. Those are PC only. Ouch. Ah, I was trying to load jump behind it. Who's gonna die first? I'll use my bomb.
I suppose that is one of the things. I mean, we've shown the alternate characters for Damon Claw. You know, there's a unique one for each platform. I think that's the one thing that like aesthetically, that I missed when I played as the alternate characters is the glowing gauntlet effects you would get from Elric. You know what I mean? Like those were kind of unique to him in a way, artistically. But yeah.
Anyway, I had to quit out. There was another bug where it didn't finish the end sequence into the final credits. But that's right. We leave the final credits for people to discover on their own once they get good and can beat Damon Claw on their own. Well,
right.
Anyway, I haven't heard you say anything in a bit, Chris. Are you still with us?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm just lurking
and
doing other things while I listen.
Okay. Well, that's going to be the whole point of these streams. In fact, one of the things we do want to test sometime during the stream is people coming and going, which we did test earlier when we weren't streaming. Corey and I did, and that seemed to work great. So that's really cool. So basically, when Corey's not here, his avatar will not be in the corner, and then when he pops in, it should just appear. And then, unfortunately, for whatever reason, he has to kind of re-hook up his mic in a software sense through the app later.
Right.
Ted Zog H, or is that Ted Zog? Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us. He's on Twitch, so it's good to see Twitch getting some action too. And I was just playing. I don't know if you caught any of it, but I was just playing the PC version of Damon Claw, which I mentioned. There was just an update to Construct 3, and we get a new follower. Thank you very much, Escordian.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's great. We're testing out the tech of followers and the chat. Ted Zog is also now following. Thank you very much. So as I was saying, sometimes when you're developing a game, the actual programming language or authoring system that you're using, that gets an update, and if you start working with the updated version, that can introduce bugs. Code that was working perfectly fine in your game suddenly is broken, and you have to make a judgment call. Do I adapt to this new version and fix the bugs so that they work correctly on this new version, or do I kind of pause on updating and like revert back to the last known version of the authoring system that did not introduce these bugs? And so far from what I've seen, I think Construct just got even more like super, I don't know how to say it, like super even more nitpicky with its collision boxes in regard to like its platforming engine and that kind of thing. So I think I'm just going to see how long it takes me to try to update the code to work perfectly with the new version of Construct instead of reverting back. Like, it's worth trying for a couple of hours to see if I could fix these issues that got interrupted, because usually the updates are worth it because it means better performance, higher compatibility with all the different platforms and everything like that. Hey, Photon SCX, thanks very much for joining. I had just finished playing the PC version of Damon Claw that we're still working on. You can actually get it and play it yourself as early access on Steam, and you can currently play the full finished Mega Drive version and this still work in progress PC version, which the version on Steam doesn't have these bugs because I haven't made a new build recently with this new version of Construct. But we'll get that resolved over the following few days. Welcome, Furmel Monkey. That's a great name. Thank you very much for joining the stream. So anyway, at the beginning, Chris and I played through the demo of Metro Siege, which is a pixel perfect representation of the Amiga version, but we played the online web version that you guys could also play if you want to. Photon SEX is now following. Thanks so much. Yeah, if you go to metrosiege.com, you'll find something that says like play now or play in your browser or something like that. And you can play the demo just online. You can even play with other friends remotely if they go to the same site, and you just have to set up a network and then game ID. It's pretty straightforward. I think there's instructions for that on the website somewhere. So yeah, that's metrosiege.com. Or at the same webpage, you can actually download the Amiga version if you're an Amigan with an actual Amiga hardware setup or Amiga emulator setup. Um, anyway, so one of the things that we were going to do, or that I'm going to do, is a little bit of Metro Siege work. This is
Hmm.
an early sketched up version of inside a warehouse building in what I call the industrial district or the warehouse district in the city that Metro Siege takes place in. Quick, Chris, what's the name of the city Metro Siege takes place in? Invent one. Metrotopia. How's um but let's see. So that's
How
how
about
the yep, go Chris.
Providence?
How creative. I already have it in the subway. Chris and I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and the main street we lived off of was Eddy Street. And if you actually look in the subway level, level two, or the second environment in Metro Siege, the support beams actually have a sign that says Eddy Street on it. So it's a
Oh,
little
nice.
Easter egg from our past. And then there's a ton of Amiga themed Easter eggs in Metro Siege. There's graffiti that's a Japanese, I guess. Is it kanji or katakana? I don't know. There's Japanese writing on the phone pole. Actually, says the word Amiga in Japanese.
Yeah,
Um,
there was
yeah,
definitely with the world of NAR, there was less opportunity for that maybe in Damon Claw, but I think
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
Metal Mac, I want to do a similar thing. There's plenty of room for plenty of other Easter eggs,
Like
maybe even
inside jokes and
references.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. One thing that we already established we want to do is in every game have a Easter egg variant of Officer Bob. Like what's the Officer Bob of this game? And in Damon Claw, it's actually that dwarf that you saw the bug if you were tuning in early enough. The little dwarf that jumps down the trap door. So the reference is the joke is that Officer Bob at the end of level one, you think you beat him, but he gets up and he runs down the subway.
Yes.
So there's two instances in Damon Claw. If you beat on hard, you'll see the second instance. But that dwarf who has like goggles, which is to like mimic the fact that Officer Bob had sunglasses. But that dwarf, there's two instances in Damon Claw where he escapes going down a hole.
Right.
Keep an eye out. You'll see some kind of reference to Officer Bob in Metal Mech as well. Officer Bob is also the name of the player in APB. APB is an all points bulletin. I'm not. I don't think I know of that game. Oh, Manga Lover. I did recognize that first look. Good manga. Oh, I'm completely lost again, Simon. My apologies. What is a reference to a manga? Did we make something that looks like a reference to a manga? If so, I think that's accidental. I can't think of anything in Damon Claw or Metro Siege that is directly inspired by a manga. Old arcade game from
No.
Atari. Wow, you must be our age, Simon. Chris and I grew up with Corey's younger than us by quite a bit, but Chris and I grew up with like Atari 2600, even a little
I
earlier than that, and
I
Mega Man.
and yeah, I had a hand me down one and I played it
Yeah,
some as a kid. So
but yeah, like I can remember when the Atari 2600 was a newfangled thing.
I
And
mean, I played it before I ever played an
uh,
NES, so it was kind of the first console thing that I
yeah,
ever
yeah, yeah,
played that wasn't like an arcade machine or something.
yeah. Yeah. I think our first console, which makes us really weird as Americans, was Sega Master System, and then the Amiga on the computer end, which also makes us weird. Like Chris and I just always were getting the systems that were way more popular in Europe and elsewhere in the world, coincidentally. But yeah, both great systems with really advanced hardware for the time. But anyway, let me actually get to work a little bit. So that's how, let me just, the back bricks are a repeating sprite pattern for some parallax, as are these columns going to be sprites. So you'll have like basically 3 layers of parallax. And as I mentioned previously, the game to run well on a classic Amiga needs to think it's displaying 16 colors, but between the sprites and copper color changes, it ends up displaying probably around 50 to 60 colors on screen. And so this is where I left off with the help of another artist who helped me do some cleanup work and to detail some of the stuff. I forget who did what exactly, but I know I roughed in almost everything here. But so the next step is going to be me. By the way, is that you, Chris, typing, or is that Corey? I don't want it to annoy the. Like, if you're not going to talk but you're typing, you might as well mute your mic. I don't mean mute
I
me. I
was.
mean. Oh, you
It
were
might have
typing.
been my controller. I was testing
Oh,
the latest
interesting.
Metal
Is
Mac.
it
Yeah.
really clicky? It sounded
A
like
little.
someone
I
typing.
don't know. I don't know if it was me or not.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I should have known
can't
better.
tell.
Well, it did stop, but I should have known that when Chris types, it sounds like a waterfall. He types so fast.
Right.
Like you
Yeah.
almost can't hear the individual key presses. It's crazy. Um, but anyway, like it wasn't a big deal, but I figured if it was Chris and he wasn't talking anyway, might as well mute his mic so we don't hear the clicking. Um, but in other words, feel free if you're testing Metal Mac and being productive too. I think we can tolerate. Just let us know in the chat if you could hear it or if it was annoying.
I was
Um,
testing a bit, but I'm also working on a little art for it.
oh, awesome.
This pixel art. So
Um, Yeah, the Amiga katakana writing in Metro Siege, that was actually the request. One of the things we did for our Patreon patrons was allow them to request putting graffiti somewhere in the game. And that was one of the requested graffiti. Although one of the things we came up with on our own was on the subway trains on level 2. Hi, Renzo Games and Metal Music. Thanks very much for joining us. So I'm going to try to be a little productive if I can stop yapping a little bit and get myself in gear. I keep distracting myself. But yeah, so as you can see, there's more colors here than 16 colors, but most of those colors are not used by the actual environment. In fact, none of them should be. So let's see what happens if I copy this over here and ramp. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense that these are colors that represent Amiga coprocessor color changes of existing colors. Um,
right, that would change according to the
yeah,
vertical line on the
yeah,
screen,
exactly. The what's called the scan line.
or can potentially change that
Right,
often.
exactly. But that does make me wonder, how was I going to know which color? Okay, so this here and this one are variants of this color. So I should leave those two alone. And then, but where's this? Where's the dark brown for these blocks? Oh, okay, it's just gray. Okay.
I have a
Yep.
artistic opinion moment question
Yeah, absolutely.
that you can weigh in on if you want.
Yep.
So if you have like a character portrait or thumbnail or something for dialogue of characters talking in the game,
Yep.
is it weird if the mouth is not open but the expression is there for the dialogue, or do you feel like it's better that it looks like they're talking if they're
Yeah, I
saying
mean,
something?
you get
How
way
do you
more
feel
wiggle
about
room
that?
for Metal Mac because they're
Yeah.
robots. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, even if
But
it's a human character, I mean, like, how do
yeah,
you
yeah,
feel about that? Like with a
yep,
specific character portrait image.
yep.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
don't know.
that's a great question that I never thought of it, but
Yeah.
literally all of the portraits for Damon Claw, no one has their mouths or beaks open, but like the
Right.
general expression is the thing that makes it work. And come to think of
Yeah.
it, I think most games from the 8 and 16-bit era were like that. They didn't necessarily worry about a single frame with the mouth open. It was more
Right.
like they would sometimes make it change the image depending on the mood of the character, like if they're angry or not or something.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
kind
and
of what
then it was
I'm
more likely their
yeah.
mouth would open, like if they're
That's
angry
kind of
or
what I'm going
shouting or
for with
yeah,
Metal Mac. Yeah. So it's more about the mood expression change than whether or not like they're yapping, I guess.
yeah,
Like their mouth.
yep. All right. Well, I started to say this before, but I'm exhausted because I spent all day until 3 in the morning, actually almost 4 in the morning, testing the Neo Geo version of Damon Claw and making a bunch new feedback tickets and putting the tickets that were finished into the finished column in Trello. So that's a little bit why I'm finding it having a hard time focusing, and this particular color usage placement issue is probably too complex for my very tired brain. So
Hmm.
instead, I'm going to fall in my comfort zone and just see if I can clean up this lighting fixture while we're
Right.
here. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
one of the first things I could do is just merge this down. Let's see if it tells me I can't. Okay. Use existing color palette. So now it's all in one layer, and I can turn this into a tile map project. 16 by 16 pixels is what we want. And the Amiga it cannot on the fly in hardware do any flipping. So I'll leave that off. Plus, I don't use any flip tiles in this tile set anyway. And you could see this is part of what we were saying about what an amazing tool promotion is. But because you could see right away, it gives us our tile count, which we can always keep an eye on that. Make sure we don't go overboard and constantly try to optimize that down. Like you might actually be able to see some tiles that are extremely similar to each other, and over time we can whittle that down. Um, but in the meantime, like for example, I would sure as heck want to make sure, and that's not the case yet, which makes no sense. So if you see that, oh, you know what? Come to think of it, let me undo what I've done. Oh, I can't. I've got to close it and reopen. Oh, I had to open twice. Oh no, that's just the flattened image. Let me see. File, recent. All right, so yeah, that's not on its own layer. So those are not supposed to be sprites. They're supposed to be baked into the tile layer. So let me do that again. Merge down. So I'm just going to optimize the tile set a tiny bit before I get started. Turn into tile map project. Okay. So right here, the majority of this, what do you call it, light fixture here, hanging light, uh, is just floating in the air over the transparent background. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so these do match. So basically, if I draw here, you should see it update immediately over there. So I'll pick out one of these loud programmer pinks to test that. I don't have my hotkeys set up exactly right yet on
And you
this.
might have mentioned, but
This
are those going to
yeah,
be considered
there you
on
go.
their own layer in the game, or is it just part of baked in,
The
kind of high
Yeah, this is
above?
baked into the foreground, but just
Okay.
up in the air. There's no
Yeah.
parallax on those, but there are going to be the foreground columns and the bricks back there are going to be parallaxed. Um, that did also make me think too that for the one that's like baked into the wall here, I might decide to give it a little glow on the wall itself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
necessary, but it might be worth it. But first, I want to see how much I can reduce down this tile count. Like for example, this sure as heck should share. Yeah, that shares a ton of tiles there. So Yeah, so far so good. The thing that introduced a lot more tiles, obviously, was all this unique stuff, the forklift and this rack thing here, which
True,
you could
but you need
see.
those
Yeah,
set pieces. I like the
yeah,
forklift a
exactly.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but like we're doing already, doing what we can with reusing, like, yeah, this edge of the box is the same, or it's supposed to be. So that got carried away there. So that's I can unify that, like so. And then once I paste that there, I should be able to, yeah, I'll do that too. But yeah, if we make, sometimes I want the label and sometimes I don't. But you can see if I need to reduce tiles more, I can do that. And then I can do tile mapping, optimize, and it's right now 383. Let's see if that got rid of any. Yeah, it got rid of one of the tiles. But, and then like this should be a repeat of that. Yeah, so far so good. It's pretty optimized already. There's going to definitely be some room to optimize on the floor, I think, with the built-in kind of lighting on the floor. Also, you'll notice that there's no light here, yet there's light like there is a light up there. So I should
Oh, that's
probably edit.
true.
Yeah, yeah. So for example, it will definitely do me. It'll be better if I just get rid of this for now. And let's see, do we have that existing? Nope, not quite. Right. So now I will turn off sync mode. Yeah, this is a fresh install of promotion, so the hotkeys are not the way I usually have them, and it's going to have little pop-ups telling me how to use the program.
Right.
But
This
anyway,
gets
so
even trickier with Mega Drive, like 8x8 pixel tiles. It
yeah, exactly.
becomes
So
more of a puzzle at that point. Yeah.
oh yeah, big time. Because each tile is made out of, or is it the meta tile is the 16 by 16 and each tile
Yeah,
is
we're
made?
still building the
Yeah.
maps out of 16 by 16 tiles, but they are still all made of four 8x8 tiles, and that's what's in memory, and that's how you save memory. So
Yeah.
you end up with your tile sets having a lot of just combinations of those tiles for your variety in a way, but
Yep.
it's something I've gotten used to now. So
Yep. Right now, all I'm doing is trying to better align. So this is currently way off, but I'm gonna see what I can do about that. Obviously, I can move things around on the floor.
oh, I think it's
Just try to.
messing with you because you have sync mode on or something.
Yeah, well,
Or maybe
I
not.
switched it to pick place. So if you have pick and place mode, even with
Okay.
sync mode on, I could just grab it from one place and stamp it onto the other, and it's
Oh,
just
maybe you just
literally.
didn't quite stamp it yet. I was thinking
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
exactly. Yeah,
okay.
I just didn't stamp it yet. But that's the thing. I should be more scientific about this. Like, I should follow a pattern. Like, I think I like this spacing right here. So, like, probably what I should do is just follow that spacing across the board. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, but I think for now, the safe thing to do is I'll just perfect the light floating here, and then I can figure out exactly how to space them later. Because, like I said, my brain is not in. Oh, that's a really cool idea, Simon. Hey,
As
Simon.
technical. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, my brain cannot handle technical stuff right now. Um, put a QR code on one of the boxes for people to literally be able to like scan it with their phone. Uh, oh, that's cool. Hybris did build its 16 by 16 tiles with 8 by 8 pieces.
Mhm.
Hybris was the first, to me, one of the first pinnacle Amiga games that wasn't just beautiful to look at and on par with arcade games of the day and sounded great, but it actually had decent gameplay too. There were other games that looked and sounded amazing for the time, like Shadow of the Beast, that just did not have great gameplay. But yeah, Hybris and then the sequel, Battle Squadron. Like, if someone is looking to get into collecting Amiga or trying Amiga games, Two of the best like arcade style games that you can get are definitely of like finished games that were actually made back in the day when Amiga was on the market. Is definitely Hybris and Battle Squadron.
Hmm.
Chris, if you're still around, pitch in. Can you think of any other like actually fun console or arcade style games? Like I could think of other great like more computer like games on Amiga, like Settlers. I always mention it had a very good Sim City.
I never
Yeah,
did play Settlers, but I remember seeing it advertised a lot, and I do like
yeah,
those kind of games, like
yeah. It was so
strategy
charming.
builder type. I guess it was almost like it seemed to me like a light RTS kind of game, maybe
Well,
not
that
full
was
as
the
full
cool
blown.
thing. It definitely had that aspect to it, but it was like a medieval, a cute, cartoony medieval Sim City combined with an
Like
RTS.
almost like a lighter Civilization game,
Yeah,
maybe. Like
yeah, like
Civilization was like
literally.
full blown, like build your civilization, go to war or not, or whatever, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Trying to figure out what exact angle I was shooting for here. I'm gonna stick with the good old 2x1 that was almost always used for isometric. Hey, that's gonna free up some tiles for me. This is gonna be way less wide when I'm done with it.
Right. Yeah.
Switching over to
Yeah,
2 by
that is
2.
a trick. Sometimes you find you can shave the size or width or whatever of
Yeah,
something down to
exactly.
save some memory. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
still
not
get
only
the same look.
memory,
Yeah.
especially on the Amiga, your game's performance can drastically improve. Like 1 pixel over 16 could have an enormous effect on performance, and that can be the same for the Mega Drive. For example, its sprites, you can set the width and height of all sprites at the same time. I'm pretty sure is the way it works on Mega Drive. So you could set it up so each sprite is like 32 by 32. But let's say you have a frame of an animation that's 33 pixels wide. It like
Right.
wastes an entire other 32 pixel wide sprite for that 1 pixel of extra column of pixel data.
Yeah.
But on the Amiga, it's even more dangerous because already it is a massive challenge to get a game running, especially if you're trying to target actual like 60/50 FPS. But if you on top of that try to go with something like I think I'm gonna flatten this so it doesn't go to a perfect triangle top there. Yeah, that's way better. All right. And then I'll darken this top even more since it's on the opposite side of the light source. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Hmm.
Sorry, I just suddenly stopped my train of thought entirely and started mumbling about my artistic decision here. I'm sure that's going to happen a lot while I'm working on pixel art. But I'm also trying to explain kind of what I'm doing to make it a little more
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, yeah, we were talking a little bit about optimization on the Mega Drive
Yeah, yeah,
side.
thank you, Corey.
Yeah, every performance wise, if we're talking about that versus, often it's a balancing act of do
Yeah,
you want to waste more memory for the sake of performance, or do you
yep,
want to eat a little bit into performance to save memory? Like sometimes that's a
yeah,
tug of
exactly.
war you have to deal with
Yeah,
in a lot of scenes.
that's another case that's like super, super severe. Everything's a tug of war on the Amiga. Because, like I mentioned before, the Amiga cannot hardware flip in real time. You can do it with the blitter or the processor, but it takes time. So, like, you can't just. You have to have, if you want a fast frame rate, or a decently fast frame rate, you have to have all the artwork for every character that can turn around in memory the whole time. So that's a massive trade-off of you have to gobble up way more memory on the graphics, which can be a real, that's why we had to use the modular animation system in Metro Siege to be able to fit all those animations in memory Because if we tried to do it with full frame images, we could have fit maybe 3 moves per character if we were lucky. They're going to make this kind of support pole thing wire darker by quite a bit. There we go. Right, that works. Maybe I'll add a little more detail to the kind of way that it's attached. Yeah, that looks good. I'll probably rim-light this. Anyway, once again, I suddenly stopped my train of thought, but that's
No
that's
worries.
bound to happen. Yep.
Yeah, the shape is there now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's clean. I think, did it end up using an entire less tile, or is it still gonna? Oh, look at that. It's like, yeah, it's halfway across one tile on either side, so I can just move the whole thing over. Will you stop? I said got it last time. Don't nag me repeatedly with this info. Got it should mean, oh, and I can lower it 1 pixel, which will allow me to give it a tiny bit more presence and detail. Oh, but no, then I don't have the. All right, that's no problem. I will just move a little bit of pixel surgery here. I'll just grab all this right here, erase it and slide it over, and then I can fit that pixel.
Oh, this is that minute trickery to
Yeah,
save
exactly.
to save
Fit
space.
it
I
perfectly
deal
within the
with it all the
tiles.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like you've got it if you want to make actual. Oh, Silkworm was a good side scroller. That's a good one. Hybris is great. Yeah, Hybris is great. Menace was nice quality for like a G1 generate. My Transformer nerdness. That's probably used by a lot of collector bases. G1 for first generation, but anyway, Menace was cool for a early generation Amiga game, but it just gameplay wise was extremely simple. That was one of the first games I think where Chris really mastered his super fast repeated button pressing, like machine gun fire pressing. Like that was a core element to the gameplay of Menace. And it used dual
Yeah.
playfield, which back in the day was impressive on it in and of itself, but it doesn't hold a candle in graphics or gameplay. The soundtrack was nice, if I recall. Did it only have one song, Chris, other than the title song, though?
Hmm.
Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Was that Menace?
It
I think
it
I
didn't
think
have a lot of songs. That's true.
I'm pretty sure it had one song, maybe a title song and a in-game song.
That's something
You
that
might
can
be wrong,
definitely make you
Jordan.
play a
Yeah,
game less. Is like if you have to hear the same
one
song
song.
too much the
Yeah.
whole game. Yeah.
Luckily, it was a good song, but yeah, you don't want to, even a good song, you don't want to hear it over and over and over.
Yeah, Menace
Um,
was interesting. Like Hybris, you could play it with a mouse. You could play with the
yeah, yeah,
Amiga mouse. Um,
exactly.
and now that you mention it, I think
Oh, that's nice.
that was an early DMA designed game. They later became Rockstar, famous for the Grand Theft Auto series.
Yep. Humble beginnings.
Yeah, they made Blood Money after they made
Yep.
Menace, and that similarly had very few music tracks. Now that I think of it,
Yep. Same thing with Xenon 2 Mega Blast. Really
yeah,
impressive intro song, and then it was like the same song for every freaking level.
that was one of the better games where it was mostly an ST port, but it didn't suffer that much from it.
Yeah.
I think they used a little bit of Amiga's power to make it update the screen quicker and stuff, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like bursting with colors or anything.
Right. So check this out, everyone who's watching. I don't know who cares. Corey might care. This is pretty funny. Have you been watching what I'm doing, Corey? Or you might be busy doing your own Metal Mac pixel art at the moment. You there, Corey? Oh, he may be muted at the moment. something. Hybris also plays faster and smoother on NTSC. Yeah, almost certainly the case. Uh, yeah, and that used Hybris and Battle Squadron used sprites extremely well on the Amiga. The usually super limited sprites. They did some great
More so
hardware
Battle
tuning and with the
Squadron.
sprites. Yeah, do you remember the like high score table over the level graphics was
Yeah,
entirely sprites?
the HUD and the bullets and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah, the
they really
player
did
shot
sprite
sprites,
multiplexing really well.
the player ships, the shots, the HUD. It
Yeah.
was crazy, and that's how they could
They
have
took advantage of
silky
the
smooth.
vertical scrolling, letting
Yeah,
them multiplex sprites more.
yeah. Let me know when you're back, Corey, because I want to.
I am back.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I had
Now,
stepped
I
away
just
for a
wanted
second.
to mention a funny decision I'm making right now. Do you see my screen with this light fixture here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so look at the funny thing that's going on. I have this 2x1 by 2x1 diagonal, and then right here it breaks that mold,
Yeah.
so it's not quite right. And I'm like, yeah, actually, yeah, I'm just gonna do this, and then like that balances it off, and it looks better anyway. Like it's like this is like the
Yeah, it could look like a
plastic encasing, and it's
maybe a
a little
beveled
rounded.
edge or
Exactly
something.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You could also another trick you could do if you needed it flat is that
Yeah.
second row that represents the top edge. You could move that
Yeah, yeah,
over
I
a
could move
pixel
that over
too.
to the
There's
right
there's a
then.
few
Exactly.
options. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that like I thought about it and I thought it'll actually aesthetically look better anyway if I round it
Yeah.
off on this end. So that'll allow me to keep this and keep this consistent 2x1 diagonal. But anyway, that's certainly cleaned up quite a bit. I'll probably add a little more detail to it before I call it done enough. Come to think of it, I will save the project. And then, as I said, you could see the tiles that were still the same. They were updating here too. But then I just have to replace out the ones that don't make it. But I'm not even going to bother with any of them yet until I come up with a super consistent spacing that is efficient with tile usage, but it also will make it really easy for me to fix the lighting on the floor pattern to always be lined up with one of these lights. So, but like I said, for now, I'm going to keep it really simple for my very tired brain and just.
Yeah, it does feel like the process would be get the lights where you want them first, then adjust the floor.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like the floor is an easier adjustment, kind of
Right,
thing.
and that's why the floor is purely a repeating pattern of tiles. That's no problem. But the lamp, sometimes it's over stuff, and sometimes it's not, which means every time it overlaps something new, that's whole new tiles. So I want to
Right,
find
yeah.
a spacing for this that creates as few new tiles as possible. So ideally, I can find a spacing. The big savings will be to make sure, to make sure that the one that's inside this brown wall can work equally well on both sides here. So that
Right.
way, you know what I mean? So, but that's going to be a lot of monkeying around, and it'll be less monkeying around with a less tired brain. So I'll just work on getting this one tidied up. Oh, that was interesting. I would have thought. Oh, I have sync turned off now. That's my fault. All right, so let me turn sync back on and see how many of these tiles can. Oh, maybe none of them. All right, that's interesting. Well, like I said, I won't worry about it for now anyway. Tile mapping optimized. As expected right now, because I was sloppy, I've got even more tiles than when I started, but that's just because I turned sync off and cleaned up one of them. Can't wait for my Amiga copy to arrive. I assume hi JTD 8.1. Welcome. I hope you're talking about Metro Siege. That's my assumption. If you're talking about Metal Mech, an Amiga version has not been announced or promised yet. I assume the official reply in such cases tends to be, and you can interrupt me if you want, Corey, but basically no other versions can be promised yet. Like You need to
Yeah,
strategize after you fulfill the current versions that were promised in the Kickstarter. But it's
that
certainly
is the
not an
current.
impossibility for the future.
Right, it's something that's possible, but right now it can't be in the pipeline for the Kickstarter fulfillment
Right.
itself. So yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, the
as to
basically,
not spread too thin or try to over, you know what I mean. There's
yeah.
you only want to work on so many versions at once. So
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not just a want thing. It's a
right, yeah,
you're making promises to backers, you're setting at least estimated delivery dates, and it always takes damn near a miracle to deliver near your estimated delivery date as it
yeah.
is,
I
over
mean,
promising.
I
Yeah.
suppose that in a different timeline or the future, where there's maybe more manpower or resources available to do that like we probably wouldn't, care in
Yeah.
that instance. But as it stands,
Yeah.
in fact, Metal Mac in a way is designed a little more based on the Mega Drive from the beginning in a way,
Mhm.
and should work nicely on Neo Geo as well. Amiga
Yeah.
would take some extra technical work,
Oh
like you're
yeah.
talking about with the
A lot
special
of
palette and
reworking
stuff.
of art.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like the good thing is, obviously, you could go like even if you end up making an Amiga version, you could target AGA or even enhanced AGA, so you'd like be able to do a much more direct port of like mostly using the Neo Geo graphics, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So those are all possibilities. But the other thing
That's
is,
that's
yeah,
true. It's better like the a port like that would work better as well with all that other stuff already made. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you have the full set of both versions of the game to draw from for your assets, which is something that
exactly. So like,
developers think about that stuff a lot, but it's not always thought about maybe from the fan side or whatever.
yep. So here's a great example of tile optimization. This is just driving me nuts, so I'm going to fix this now. But look at this.
All
Look at
right.
this one pixel down into what otherwise is a repeating tile of the floor.
Right.
Like this forklift goes down one pixel too many. And it's a forklift, it goes up and down. So I could literally just hover it above the floor just a tiny bit. This
Oh
whole
yeah.
elevating fork section. And it won't take any more tiles vertically anywhere. It doesn't go up into normal tiles. So it should be the perfect crime to just grab this and move it up a pixel and clean this up. I guess I'll use Shift B. I'll pick this as a Shift B. There we go. Pick this as a background color. Save myself a bit of work. Yeah, that's way more efficient for workflow. I feel like JTB81. I feel like I might or should know who you are, but maybe if your name was not so abbreviated. Do I know you from the Amiga community already or somewhere else? There, now I can clean that up, and now this tile should already exist right here. I can even use pick place mode to verify. Nope, my brain isn't working. Okay, which tile is that? Grab the whole gap. Yep, there we go. So that definitely freed up a tile there. And look at the light fixture. I'll go back to the light fixture now. I'm bouncing all around. Do I want to put this here? Yeah, I do. Okay, looks best. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like a little more detail without going nuts. Good. Let's create some more kind of ribbing.
Yeah, it definitely.
You're very welcome, AJ Popstar 79. Yeah, sorry, Corey.
Oh yes. Yeah, I don't know. Like I know in ProMotion when you work on Metro Siege graphics,
Yep.
there's a sort of like it's more like you're following the set of rules of this palette more than this is the actual color palette as much, right?
Yeah,
Kind of.
exactly. Right now, I'm kind of cheating so I can see what I'm doing, but there's a whole other process I need to do that there's no chance in hell with my tired brain right now that I would
Right.
do properly, so that's why I'm avoiding it and just cleaning stuff up. But basically, the top row is the actual 16 color palette the level uses, but then there's copper color tricks that add those other colors. And right now, a lot of those other colors don't exist at all here because it's like the sprite palettes. And so this right
Right.
here is the palette for the background brick pattern, which is a back parallax layer created with the repeating sprite trick. So these
Yeah,
colors aren't used on screen, and then
that can
these are
get
for the foreground
tricky.
column. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that can get tricky. I guess as long as the values are
yeah,
pretty consistent, that works better. Because I find if you
yeah.
have, if you suddenly need to change the actual values, brighter or darker of some things, it affects completely how I would draw something or light it, and I have to, you might
Right.
redo it
Like,
if you apply a different palette. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like that's why I'm doing this. In fact, for now, I'm just gonna turn off sync mode and completely remove these other lights, just so I have the clean area when I don't have such a tired brain and I could figure out the exact spacing I want. Um, I'll
Mhm.
have my clean canvas, no pun intended, to stamp them down on top of in as optimized a way possible. But hey, that at least is some progress there. Something is tempting me, and I don't know why I'm resisting it so hard, but something is tempting me to shade this as it gets deeper into toward this dark kind of abstracted representation of a ceiling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. It
And
feels like up there,
yeah, yeah,
and to me, this depends a little bit on what you intend on having in the very back, like
yeah, it's a
behind that.
very dark brick wall pattern.
Okay.
Oops. So sometimes, this is called artistic license, sometimes an artist does something that might not make 100% logical sense or based on like real world lighting or perspective or something, but they do it anyway because it adds something to the aesthetic or, boy, it really jumps, it really gets dark there. I wonder if there will be a chance to like I might not ramp it that much, or I might tweak the palette to make this color a tiny bit darker. I'm not sure yet. I might be going too far with this, but yeah, I think it does go too far. I think it's better like this at the most. And then yeah, yeah. So I would darken this too, but not the darkest color since that's a light source that wouldn't darken, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So like the top of this could potentially be receding into more shadow, but this light source itself could not be. So, yeah, I think I'll stick with that for now.
Yeah, there
Yep.
is a
Okay.
consistency even with the like other items on the ground and stuff to
Yeah, yeah,
light
getting
them a little
darker,
brighter as they move forward
come
in the
forward.
scene. Yeah.
Exactly. So like that's the thing you always have to keep in mind. Um, you're always working within limitations on retro. You only have so many tiles you can use, and you're not just doing art to match realistic rules of light and shadow, but to communicate well to the player, to make things pop, to create the illusion of depth. Like that's a really fascinating thing. I taught myself to paint largely at first by doing the landscape paintings, and I discovered early on that in real life depth is just something you actually perceive because you have, most people have stereoscopic vision with their two eyes, right? So depth is just inherently there. On a flat photo, you can still sense a lot of depth because it's photorealistic and everybody knows how far away a tree is and stuff. And there is that automatic atmospheric, like a pine tree really close to you is going to look very different than a pine tree halfway up a mountain, like 2 miles away, right? Like the
Yeah.
color gets filtered by all the atmospheric, basically the amount of sky in between you and it tints it with that sky color the further away it is. But what I realized when I started painting is to get the same sense or illusion of depth, you can't just follow the exact colors of the photo reference. You actually should even mute out and push the colors and the contrast further back, like to create more of that sense of depth in a painting. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like how in a comic book illustration or just 2D illustration in general, if you're trying to evoke the sense of movement, it's a static image, so you have to exaggerate. Like you could take any one photo or frame from a movie of someone punching someone else, and it can only feel so much like motion because it's a completely realistic pose. But in drawing, you can exaggerate the perspective, the movement. You can stretch out limbs, and you could obviously add motion blur lines or motion blur into the art. There's so many tricks you can do to make it feel even more in movement than you can catch with the camera.
Hmm.
So anyway, the
Yeah.
point is, like, when you're doing graphics for a video game, there's how good does it look and how well does it work communicating to the player. Those are the big things, not like how closely are you following real perspective. What you don't want, which can be tricky, because again, you only have so many tiles, it's not 3D, so you don't have a functional vanishing point. It goes off on an angle, and so a lot of times you really have to fudge it. It's very fake perspective, and the trick is
Right.
you can't follow real perspective, so you need to hide the biggest sins of the lack of real perspective. And we got into that a decent amount in our Corey and Mike play Knights of the Round, I think, where I
Hmm.
think that's where you
Yeah.
coined brickitis, and which is a great term, and we discussed some of the tricks. Also, I think we also talked about that in our Let's Play of Rastan Saga 3, which is a kind of a
Yeah.
hidden gem. That's worth checking out if
It
you've never
comes
seen it.
back to similar to the earlier discussion, but in a different way, in a different technical way of like
Hmm.
you can follow like principles of reality as far as like perspective and stuff, but it's sort of like
Yep,
you're setting your own abstracted rules of them. And as long as you're being consistent about that within your game's universe or the art within
exactly.
it, then it feels natural to people, like people accept
Yeah,
it more. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So I just noticed that I can anti-alias this forklift into this
I
floor
dealt with
here.
that, a little
Yep.
bit with previous games where like you have to kind of make it look like a perspective in a 2D, but you've got like the
Yeah.
camera moving around and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's
It's like,
so it messes with the whole thing. Yeah,
what can you get away with? Like,
yeah,
which not correct thing looks the least not correct?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it can get really, really
It has
interesting
the
and
effect of
challenging
old
sometimes.
like pan and scan movies.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah,
they used to
exactly.
like
Yeah.
scan across a widescreen film, and that kind of
Yep.
messes with your eyes a little bit.
Yeah, that whole thing about perspective foreshortening, like I remember having to try to explain to like because I belong to several like Facebook groups for comic book artists. There's a lot of aspiring comic book artists and illustrators on those kind of groups, and like sometimes I would pitch in some hopefully constructive criticism, but there was often like someone that was pretty good and very good at copying things. Not a particular person. I'm just saying occasionally there would be this kind of person who would post something and they'd be really proud of it, and I'd give them some feedback, and often it was because they had multiple figures in one place. And they knew enough about basic perspective that they made the two characters the right general size, like head height versus each other in perspective. So it seemed like they were both standing on the same floor. So that's great.
Mhm.
But the problem was, speaking of like different cameras and lenses and what that does. So as you well know, and I've got a camera on so I can demonstrate this, depending on how close I am to the camera, you could see if I stick my hand out, my hand gets enormous compared to the rest of me, right? That's because of the type of camera lens this is and how close I am to the camera. The farther I
Right.
get away from the camera, if I raise my hand, suddenly you could see, like, the farther away I have my hand, it's not that far from my face. It's much more the actual size of my hand compared to the face. But as you get closer and closer to the camera lens, the difference gets more and more exaggerated. So the problem with some of these artists that would be really proud of themselves because they did a great job copying this photo reference of this character and this photo reference of this character, and they put it in one scene together. And I'm like, you've got some severe foreshortening issues with this
Right.
character because there's no way that their hand would get that big, or sometimes the reverse, like their hand would be way bigger because it's out in front of them. And they would say to me very smugly, like, no, you're wrong because I used a photo reference. So you're full of crap. And like then you have to
Well,
explain to
cameras,
someone
yeah,
that
cameras
they're
have
using
different
yeah,
lens depths and all
exactly.
kinds of
So
stuff. Yeah,
they're
yeah,
using two totally different photo references taken by different people with different cameras with different lenses where the model was different distances away from the camera. So when one
right.
character in the background, they're far away, but their hand sticking out is enormous compared to their head. And then the character close, they've got their hand out, and their hand is almost the exact right, like the complete opposite of proper perspective. And that's the thing is like when someone that doesn't understand these things are so proud of themselves because they so accurately copied from a photo, there's like no arguing with them because they're like, you're obviously wrong because I'm looking at the photo right here in front of me, so you're full of crap. And like, there's such a barrier and a defensiveness to them. Like, you're trying to speak logically to them and explain cameras and perspective and foreshortening. And they're like, you think you're a know it all. You're using words, but clearly you're wrong because I used photos. You know?
Right.
So
Yeah, I
that
mean,
can
you
always
can
be
like. There's
frustrating.
nothing wrong with like a reference as like a starting point. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
you do need like you got to see what things look
Knowledge.
like or
Exactly.
gather
Yeah.
inspiration even. But like there is a
Yeah.
point where it's no longer the reference and it's totally in your hands and control where you can
Right.
manipulate it to exactly what it needs to be for what you're doing.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
And like it's that extra knowledge that's the difference between a beginner and a pro of you can rely on photos for certain things, but you have to know how different photo references from different sources can betray you. And the two
Right.
big things are lighting. What's the lighting of your scene? Because every photo reference is going to be photographed with different lighting. So if you perfectly
Right.
copy two characters into a scene from different photo references with totally different lighting, like someone that's very attuned to those sort of things, even if they're not an artist, even people that don't understand, they might go something looks wrong and might not know what it is. But then people that like an art director or someone that's really attuned to those things, they're going to see instantly like, okay, this artist is a bit of a beginner. They didn't notice the obvious that they were using photo references with drastically different lighting or drastically different camera focal lengths, and they didn't adjust for that. And like that's the whole point of it is like there's one thing to like step one could be getting really good at using references and being able to copy what you see well, but then there's the extra layer of knowledge and experience on top of that that hopefully comes in eventually that becomes
Yeah.
how
What you,
to
like it's
use
less
things
about
well.
replicating a reference, I
Exactly.
guess, is what the skill you want to develop, and more about kind of just understanding like the shape of a thing or the color of a
Yeah,
thing or the size of a thing, you
texture,
know,
yeah,
that kind
exactly.
of stuff is kind of really what you want to gather from it, and
Yeah,
then you make it take that and you morph it into the actual style of what you're doing. You don't necessarily like take it and manipulate it in Photoshop. You just have to use it, like as an
Yeah,
eyeball
exactly.
reference,
Yeah, like basically the more trained and knowledgeable you become as an artist, the less you become an inferior photocopier, and the more you become, and I mean inferior meaning cameras already exist and photocopiers exist, and you'll never copy a photo or a real person exactly like pixel for pixel, so to speak, as well as a camera or a photocopier can, but that's not the point of art at all. The whole point of art at all is to change things and to represent things in a way that's not simply what you could otherwise catch with a camera. Like we were talking about in video games, you intentionally exaggerate color usage, contrast, sometimes
yeah,
break rules in order to communicate more impactfully or in a way that's better for gameplay, all those kind of things. So anyway, sorry guys. Apparently, even when I'm trying to do pixel art, I just have to get used to being able to continually work. I have the habit of wanting to do the Italian hand wave while I talk.
yeah.
I've got to be able to train myself to keep working while I
The
talk.
way too large scaled hands version of it.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cover my whole face. Um, But anyway, yeah, let's see. Going back to the JTB, nope, just an Amiga fan. So I've been following Metro Siege ever since it was announced. Wow, so you've been following it a very long time, and we really appreciate that. And your patience. We hope that the playable demo that you can download even for the real Amiga right now helps the waiting be less annoying. Um, and obviously, since the Kickstarter, we're doing everything we can, and we are ramping up as we speak, or not maybe literally, but right now, currently, Alex Brown, it has been working on programming the other levels that I designed recently and gave him placeholder art for, very similar to the placeholder art you see here, but for very different structured levels. The Amiga version of Metro Siege, every level environment was custom designed for that environment to maximize parallax and on-screen colors. So Alex Brown, the amazing programmer for the for all versions, but he has to put in so much extra work to make it work on the Amiga within the hardware and memory constraints. Um, but anyway, yeah, I made functional placeholder art within those technical constraints and delivered that to him recently. So now he's working on getting those levels, which are basically the final 2 or 3 levels in the game, getting those working. So I'm getting some amount of cleaning up done with this, but some of the stuff isn't perfect. But we'll just keep chatting, and I'll make some progress until I'm too tired to continue the stream. It is possible. I don't know if any of you guys that are following us know who Jared is from Project. I think Project COE. I think is the name of the YouTube channel. He was planning on joining us during this live stream early on, but he let me know that he was only supposed to have one meeting today. That was the plan, and suddenly he had a bunch of meetings today, so that's why he's not here yet. Um, it's just too short, but he might be able to join us before I end up shutting things down for this stream. And definitely, Chris and Corey, feel free to leave whenever you want and or come back. In fact, we should test that during a live stream if either of you do want to go and then come back to
I have a
see if...
quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So you gave an example of saving a tile by moving that forklift blade
Yep.
upward.
Yeah, exactly.
So would an extreme version of that be giving the forklift a flat front left tire to save 2 more?
Yeah, that would be way more than 2 tiles. 2 tiles. I was thinking pixel columns. Yeah, exactly. That would have to be. It could be a totally removed tire. That would be kind of funny. We could show like the. Is that called the axle? Whatever the metal post is that a tire would be like bolted
Would it
to.
need like a cinder
But
block or something?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, no, I don't want to go that far, but absolutely that would be possible. Uh I could push it closer to the wall to free up one more tile, but I think it would feel too claustrophobic and almost like it's going through the wall if I get even more than a few more pixels close to this wall here. So I don't think
If the
that's worth it.
wall, if the edge of the wall in the back was a
Yep.
little more deep, you could move it up a little bit in the
Yeah, oh,
scene.
that's a
But
good point. This is still sketched in. It's not proper 2x1 perspective. So we could see what happens once I fix that, but I don't think it's going to get any better. I think it's going to average out to be pretty much the same. But yeah, that's one more thing I can clean up. Yeah, in fact, right now it's getting worse, not better. So I'm going to scooch this over a bit. Let's see.
I've never examined the forklift closely. I don't even know if they have tires that could get flat or if there's some kind of special
Oh
solid
yeah, yeah.
tire.
That's a great point. It is so industrial, and they're made to use in a warehouse where all kinds of
Especially in
stuff.
modern times, you might be able to get
Mm,
tires that can't go flat.
I think it's
yep,
possible,
They're not
yeah,
air
that
filled.
a lot of them are made that way. Yeah.
yep. I know that technology has existed for many, many years now. So I'd have to assume that the
It's kind of
things like
like if you've ever seen like a go kart tires.
yeah,
A lot of times those can be solid, super solid too, almost like some race
yeah,
car tires
yeah,
can be that
exactly.
way.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking. Yeah, like I think a lot of race car tires these days literally can't go flat.
That would be good for safety, right? Because imagine a
Yeah,
flat
exactly.
tire when you're going down the road at
Zooming
200
around.
miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, I keep digressing. But yeah, Metro Siege for the Amiga, it started as a very back burner project for everybody. And there were years at a time where very little progress could be made just because, if any core member was just life events came up that ate up their time they could spend not working or taking care of their family, it would bottleneck the entire project. But one of the great things is Alex Brown made the entire development system tool chain workflow so damn good now that now there's no risk of such bottlenecks, which means even if a particular core team member gets blocked, the other team members can keep plugging away and making really nice progress. Um, that, of course, and the funding from the Kickstarter alone allows the person that would be the biggest risk for bottlenecks as the lead artist and lead game designer. The more hours per day I can spend working on Metro Siege, the better. And that's going to very soon be a ton of hours a day. But I know it's worth the time for us to figure out and for me to work out this tech so I can start live streaming. But now I also learned I need to learn how to talk without waving my hand so I can actually be really productive during the live streams. I promise I will make that work, but it's going against my nature. um, Habits, old
You could just
habits
get
die hard.
someone there to wave their hands for you as you talk, and then
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll get. You ever see that? There's actually, I have a 3D printer. It used to be behind me visually, but now you can't see it. It's over in the corner at the moment. But they actually make a 3D printable like thing that once you get it rocking, it keeps rocking for quite a while, kind of like that bird that dips its beak into water. But
right.
it's literally an Italian like hand, like with the and it's just on a rocker. It's hilarious. I should 3D print one of those and set it up in between me and the camera. Just get that
Right.
rocking so I can stay focused on actually being productive. Yes, Insight forklifts have solid tires. Well, JTB81, you are an awesome fountain of the trivial information that we are discussing randomly at the time. That's awesome. Thank you. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, I assume that's the case. Like for anything super industrial, it sure as hell would make sense. Like once the technology existed to just completely disallow flat tires, it would be kind of crazy to not use that
About
technology. Yep.
about the hand waving. What if we give
Yes.
Corey a button and you a shock collar?
I would be worried that that collar would be it would burn out the poor what do you call it, electrode or diode or
But
whatever in the
it would
collar
be it would be
before I learned my
delayed
lesson.
because you're across the
Oh yeah.
ocean. So
Yeah. Every time I stop talking for a breath, I get zapped. No, that never happens, so that couldn't be the case. It's actually really funny. Like when we record our videos, you know me, I'm like a mile a minute talking anyway. But then when I edit the videos, I edit out any spot where I take a deep breath or any pauses or ums. So like there are videos of ours that are like 30 minutes long where I just literally never stop talking, not even for a breath. Someone commented once like, "When how do you do that? When do you stop to breathe?" And the fact was I just edit out the breaths in the
yeah, we
video
do
editing.
that in the videos. It tightens up the length of the
Yeah.
video sometimes. Makes it easier to listen
And
to.
it can be pretty annoying to listen to, like deep, very audible breath intakes of people talking. So I
Right.
know it was annoying me editing the video. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get rid of this. It's one of the many things you learn when you start putting yourself out there, making videos, live streaming, and editing. You have to kind of become thick-skinned and be able to laugh at, like, you know what I mean? Things that,
Right.
you know, your own idiosyncrasies or whatever. Um, but at the same time, obviously, if it really annoys the fans or the viewers, do your best to adapt. Like I totally understand how constant ums or you knows can be really annoying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like I noticed with my editing of all the videos I edited where I'm yammering all the time, I say in things like that to end a point an enormous amount of times. Like I won't just end my point. Like I'll mention the specific thing and I'll just add in things like that as well. Like it
Right.
gives it more importance or gravitas, I guess, to my brain in the moment while I'm talking and things like that. I'm kidding. That's I wonder if I've said and things like that at all other than when I intentionally did just now during this very live stream. I hope the Kickstarter signal that the Amiga community really appreciates. Yeah, the value of great game development. It is an unfortunate thing. The community came out more than I was hoping for and expecting for Metro Siege, but it still is dwarfed by the amount of revenue you get from Mega Drive and Neo Geo collectors. And all I can say is we're doing everything we can. Chris and I are actual like Amigans back from our mid-teens. Corey knows about the Amiga because of us, basically. And I know he appreciates the things that it makes sense for someone that didn't grow up as an Amigan to appreciate. But, it's different. Like, there's no sane reason if someone just wants to be an indie game developer and try to actually get to the point where they can earn a living being an indie game developer. It's hard enough developing for the Mega Drive and Neo Geo, and those fund drastically better. So it's completely insane to develop a game for the Amiga. Like, you have to be like an Amiga nut, basically, to invest that much extra time. And I'm doing what I can as an Amiga nut to kind of, do these kind of live streams and keep building awareness and hopefully to be able to activate more of the kind of dormant Amiga collector base, to be more proactively buying new games for Amiga, to make it attractive, not just to make it possible, much more feasible for us to invest all that extra time. Like Corey was talking about, like there's a lot of extra work getting like a game like Metal Mac to look great and play great on the Amiga platform, even doing AGA. Um, or I should say,
Right.
even
Yeah.
specifically targeting age, it's a lot of extra work. So, as a nutcase Amigan, it kind of I engineered things like what I'm doing currently in my life in a way that hopefully will continue to have an effect and make more of the Amiga community more comfortable and more happy with backing new Amiga projects, but there's decades of a lot of very valid reasons for the Amiga community to be very jaded and very mistrustful of vaporware and those kind of things. And even some Amigans are very upset with the Metro Siege development for that enormous pause, and it's really hard to convince them. Like, we did everything we could to stay productive and to keep things rolling and to not make sure that the team didn't lose uh, their dedication to finishing the game despite all those delays. Like, someone was really upset that like Corey and I were working on other projects instead of focusing on finishing Metro Siege, and like that literally was an impossibility. And it was
Right.
like Corey and I are trying to bust our butts to get to a situation where we can work on games full time, our own games, including eventually and ultimately Metro Siege as well, which finally we got there. But that would have been impossible without all of the enormous work and hours we put over these years into Damon Claw and into YouTube, our YouTube channel, and building our social media presence. uh, Even to this day, Metro Siege would still be in a kind of amorphous, we have no idea when it'll get done kind of state. But anyway, things are always way more complicated behind the scenes than people realize. So, like, you
Yeah.
have to be thick skinned if you put yourself out there as a creator and have a social media presence, because you have to be really patient with people that are rightfully frustrated because there's no way they could know everything. You know what I mean? And it's good that they're frustrated in the sense that they wouldn't be frustrated if they didn't give a crap. If they weren't interested in playing the finished version of your game, they wouldn't be upset that it's taking so long. You know what I mean? But anyway, my point is, if any of you watching are planning or are working on being indie developers, developing a thick skin and being not taking things personally is a critical skill when it comes to dealing with criticisms and complaints and frustrations from the very people who are interested in the projects you're working on, but can never know the full extent of what's going on behind the scenes and what causes delays.
Yeah. There and there's also just, I mean, there's there's the money user base, like part of it too
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Amigas. Like there's probably not as many people with Amigas as there are with, say, Mega
A Mega
Drives.
Drive. Yeah.
But it's also like this with those systems, even with Neo Geo, like you're dealing with totally different controllers. Even like there's a
Yeah.
lot of things you have to keep in mind for the different systems. It's
Yeah.
like
A ton
people
of work.
think of
Yeah.
porting like it maybe from back in the day where people would take a game and port it to a different system, but
Yeah.
that usually happened after the fact. Like a simultaneous release on multiple systems is
Yeah.
difficult to do
Yeah, yeah,
for
big time.
developers. Yeah.
It's so much extra work when you have things with totally different gamepads, totally different graphical architecture and abilities. Like, other very high quality game studios recently got a lot of very understandable kind of pushback and we'll call it hate, but not to that degree. But they got a lot of very justifiable pushback because they made a very high quality Mega Drive game, and then they let people pre-order it or like back it for Neo Geo 2, and then the Neo Geo version was virtually pixel for pixel the Mega Drive version, and it's like the Neo Geo people paid like $300 to $400 for their Neo Geo version, and the Neo Geo is capable of displaying a lot more colors on screen and all that stuff. So without putting in extra work to add those enhancements, I can totally understand why the Neo Geo fan base that paid way more money for the Neo Geo version were not getting an enhanced version over the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's not.
Yeah, you have to like strategize on giving your project sort of its early life, and that sometimes that means a more limited, set of releases or systems or something. However, you need to start it. But it can carry on beyond that. I think we're in a different age now than it was back in the day, where people would release and the game might have a limited shot at getting appeal, and then otherwise it's dead. As a game or an IP. Whereas now you can, carry a game on, port it later. You can
exactly
breathe new life, do second, third marketing campaigns. It's a different world. So we like keeping all of those things in mind with every project, anyways. As we move forward.
That's a big part of why we felt less insane with the enormous amount of investment that especially Corey and I have put in so far. And now, don't get me wrong, Chris has been busting his butt, but for Metal Mac. But the point is, like, nowadays, because of emulation wrappers, we can make legit retro games and put them on the bigger platforms after the fact. But even then, it's by no means a guaranteed amount of money unless you bust your butt and build a fan base and build visibility for that game. You could make the best Mega Drive game in the world that the tiny handful of people relative to the consumer base that uses Steam. You know what I mean? Like, you've got literally, like, if you're lucky, maybe a few hundred people backed your Mega Drive game initially. Like, if you're a really well-known indie studio, maybe you get up to like 1,000 purchases of your Mega Drive game, and then you're trying to get on Steam now, and you're a game among millions, and in this tiny ocean, this giant ocean of games, and you just get lost unless you've spent a huge amount of time building up visibility and a fan base. And,
I can, if you want, I can show you what I was working on. I did drag an image into the private chat if you want to check that.
Someone, I'm not going to say who, I think hit the nail on the head guessing what game I was talking about. I got the pushback.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not saying, I'm not mentioning any specific games, but yeah, and like very high quality game. But I mean, if you're asking people to back, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Corey. Let me switch back. Let's see if we can get this working. With yours, did you start sharing screen?
If we want to test the screen share, we can do it that way.
I'll
give it a shot.
I need to bounce back and forth between a few different screens here, so this is going to take me a while.
Let me see if this will work. This is a quick image preview because I was having a few issues with ProMotion, and I got to think of the right way to set that up for sharing screen.
I don't see it yet on VOD Ninja. Are you trying to do it there?
Yeah, 1 second, yeah.
I mean, I said VOD. It's Video Ninja. Video. I'll just teach myself to say Video Ninja.
Okay,
Chris, you might be
sharing
muted,
it now.
so you may have been screaming on me. All right, yeah. So I can see it on my end. That's fantastic. So now I just need to highlight it. And then go back to OBS and see if guest screen share still works. It does. Fantastic. It actually worked from the last time you set it up. So what a victory. Like you wouldn't believe people watching what a challenging, frustrating mess it is to learn how to live stream and get all this tech set up. it is an enormous amount of work and trial and error and research. But yeah, that's awesome. Different in motion portraits for characters during dialogue. Yeah, those are. I mean, you always work really well within pixel and color limits, so it might be deceptive. But I'm impressed with the size of these. Can I see an example of how these fit into a full game screen with a dialogue box or whatever? Do you have such a
Well,
screen?
they're
Obviously-
40.
Yeah.
They're 40 pixels by 40 pixels.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
they should be a little larger than the average one, I guess, that you might see in a game. But I don't think.
echo. Now that's interesting. Distinct echo right now. Just a heads up. Maybe somehow when you shared, are you sharing your screen or just a window, Corey? I don't hear the echo at all. That's the weird thing.
Just screen. I don't hear anything either.
Oh, why do an echo now? When is the echo happening when anybody talks, or just when a specific person talks? Before we solve that question, is there a synergy or workflow efficiency with 68 cross-platform? Absolutely, that's the good thing. When it comes to Metro Siege, when it comes to Metal Mag, when it comes to Damon Claw, although we did not benefit from that with Damon Claw because different studios entirely were building totally different code bases. But in general, absolutely, because they all use the 68,000 processor, even if they're different speed versions of them, the core code and logic for the game can stay 100% the same, and then you're just worrying about how to get the graphics onto the screen, which can be very different architecture. So between the Mega Drive and the Amiga, the collision boxes, the AI code, that can stay like 99% the same. It's how do you get the characters on the screen that can be incredibly different code. So that's the part that has to be very differently programmed between the different platforms. But
Yeah, a lot of things really. Yeah, it gets into technical, graphical stuff a lot at that point. Like, how many sprites you're dealing with, how you're dividing up your sprites, how you're building your environments, and so color palettes. That it gets a little more artsy, and then code that deals directly with those graphics.
Right.
Yeah, that takes.
So between Mega Drive and Neo Geo, there's a huge overlap where there's backgrounds and there's sprites, even though technically on the Neo Geo it's all sprites. But still, you could go, okay, here's your character sprites, and the art, quote unquote art, can stay very mostly the same between Neo Geo and Mega Drive. But the big issue is that now you're on Neo Geo, and instead of being able to display a total of 4 16-color palettes, now you can use up to 256, and you damn well should use some extra palettes. You should definitely have noticeable visual enhancement for the people that are shelling out the big cash for the Neo Geo version. So at the very least for the Neo Geo, you're taking the same graphics you did for Mega Drive, and at the very least, like your first step should be, I'm going to separate things out more so that certain parts of the environment use different colors, and certain enemies now can use totally different color palettes. Whereas on
Mike,
Mega Drive,
I did check the stream on YouTube. It does seem like you're echoing. I don't know if this is, but
that's interesting.
So do we want to see if it's related to my screen share and test that or something?
Oh, interesting. That might make sense. Yeah. So could you? Yeah. Let's stop screen sharing. If you could figure out how to do that on Video Ninja. Stop screen sharing, and then we will see. Even if you have to leave and come back, we'll see if that stops my echo. I have a feeling you're right. That's the case. If you're sharing even a window and sharing audio, they're hearing my voice from your end as well. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let me know, Corey, once you figure out. Or Corey may have already left and it's just leaving that on the screen. Let me check what's going on Video Ninja. Let's see. Here it is. Why isn't that popping up? Okay. Um.
All right. You still with us, Corey?
I
I don't hear you. That's very interesting.
So
So this is something I just totally have no idea. Picture in picture, that's not useful. I can full screen it, that's not useful. I can turn off highlight. That got it off of the stream. Oh, there's also deafen. Is there mute? Can I mute? Oh, I can mute that without muting Corey. This may have fixed it, but Corey, we can't hear you anymore. Whatever you did, even though it looks like you're still, yeah, I think you just muted your mic and your end, maybe. I'll reconnect. I think you're back, Corey. Maybe? Nope. Oh, that you just can't. Your camera's off. I'll let you know when I can hear you, Corey. But currently nothing. What about you, Chris? Are you still around? All right. So it looks like
I'm around.
Okay, Chris is here. Oh, I'm still in guest screen share.
Get back to standard. So yep, I still see you, Chris, which is great since you're actually still here in May. But Corey is currently not.
Yeah, I was listening to the Twitch version, and it was you echoing.
There was an echo. Okay. And did it stop now? Now that Corey's.
Let me check. I'll be back into delayed mode.
Yep. Okay. So apologies, guys, for me not being super productive during this stream, but like I said, we're just still trying to work out all the kinks of live streaming and allowing multiple people to be able to join and leave, share screen. Awesome. Yeah, so it was during the screen share. So we just need to make sure when someone shares screen that they or I mute the screen share. So that should be pretty straightforward. But it does bother me, like, why isn't Corey back? I'm sure he's trying to get back.
Since you had me as co-director, I had clicked deafen on his screen share, but that didn't seem to make a difference.
On his screen share? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was also...
But I do remember... I believe when you try to share something in Video Ninja that the default is to share system audio too.
Correct.
Maybe he didn't notice that and uncheck it.
Exactly. I'm 99% sure that's what happened. I'm just worried why isn't he back yet? Like he's literally like not even in the room. Do you want to maybe check that Discord, Chris, to see if Corey is messaging in there? Like maybe something is stopping him from joining back in. But let me get
he mentioned why he left, that he left intentionally, but he did not say he's having trouble reconnecting. Maybe he's using this opportunity
that's
to do something else.
Good idea to go refill your drinking cup or do the reverse of the
like I have a housefly going around. I'm going to grab my electric racket and take care of that sucker.
No echo now. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so almost certainly that's what happened. I did see in Video Ninja that when he was sharing screen, I just never noticed it before, but there is a way to mute the audio from that specifically. So that we should know how to fix that in the future when someone's sharing. Classic kinks. Yeah, oh, absolutely. The good old echo is the thing that plagues, especially beginner live streamers the most. And most of the time, it's just silly things like a guest is not wearing a headset and they actually are listening to the conversation and the microphone is picking it up, or even worse, they have the YouTube live stream on, so there's a several second echo, or things like that. So yeah, it can be very frustrating both for the viewers and for the person live streaming to over time learn how to deal with and avoid all of these annoying issues.
Testing again.
Hey, welcome back, Corey.
I
hear you now, but I don't see your avatar on the stream yet.
Though when I mentioned whatever I mentioned last time about testing the echo or seeing if it was related to my sharing my screen, I don't know what fixed that, because right after that, I got an audio cutout from your end on the back end, so I wasn't sure what to do other than to leave and come back. Yeah.
Okay, so I think what happened is, I think, Chris, when you clicked deafen, that literally deafened Corey. So it wasn't muting his audio output to us, screen share. I think you literally deafened Corey, which you could do as a...
That would be unfortunate because it showed a separate window for his screen share.
I know.
And when I clicked on not deafen, it didn't illuminate the deafen on the Corey.
Yeah,
window.
I do think there is a different window though. So do you want to try sharing your screen again, Corey, this time? And I think I can mute just the screen share, and that should fix it.
Is that what you suspect might have been the problem?
Yeah, exactly. That the screen share itself was sharing your desktop audio, which obviously has my voice as well. It should have Chris's too, but at the time Chris wasn't talking, so that explains
No, I wasn't.
why only I had an echo.
I was swearing while on mute.
Okay.
Just kidding.
There you go.
Let me try to share
If
again.
you were saying if Mike says effing VOD Ninja one more time instead of Video Ninja or Video Ninja. All right. Yep. So yeah, there we go. I was worried for a second because it was doing the spinning thing, but
You're showing a secret room.
Yep.
Don't.
So yep, there's a mute option.
Don't tell
just
anybody.
Yeah. All right. So I have muted that. So let me know, guys. There probably was an echo for a few seconds, and hopefully it is gone now. Got to go. I will do my best on spreading the love from Metro Siege. Thank you very much, JTB81. So let me know, guys. Is there still an echo when I speak? I'm hoping. Oh, actually, you might not hear the echo because I'm not going to guest screen share. Now
I checked Twitch and there was no echo.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Guest screen share shows everybody's screen share, which is currently showing my OBS, so I should turn that off.
And the super secret screen for Metal Man.
Yeah, and the screen. Nobody screenshot this and spread this all around the internet, everybody. That's a secret screen. There it is. Get back to... There it is. And then... Yeah, that's muted. I needed to mute myself too. Oh, I wonder if that's the reason people could hear the video game though. Interesting. The games I was playing was my screen share was probably piped through. That's just a guess. Hopefully everyone's
still
here.
Screen sharing and everything. Did you try to change that?
Yeah, no, I didn't change that yet. What I need to do is go and highlight. Okay, now it's fixed. I got distracted by another unresolved technical
Now you're only sharing the super secret screen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tried to do. I have to check my phone for a second. Oh, okay. That's nothing. Nothing relevant to the stream at the time. But yeah, sorry guys. I have 3 children, so I never, even when I'm live streaming, I can't just turn off my phone. Because if my kids need anything, I need to be, 24/7 accessible. That's my policy anyway.
If Damon Claw had burgers, then all Bitbean games would have burgers.
Yeah, that's a good point. The only representation of food, there's health potions, obviously the dwarfs drop from their backpack in level 5, but other than that, there's the grapes, and I think there's like a turkey leg or something on the table of the king. Am I right? The dwarf king?
We'll just pretend the potions are pureed burgers.
There you go. Pureed. Yep. And then we could, like that's a good point. We could actually, I'll ask for our
potion of burger.
Corey? Oh, I haven't heard Corey since I think I muted Corey at the same time. I'm stupid. Sorry, Corey, you're probably screaming right now. Hold on. That's a really bad oversight of... Weird. Yeah, somehow you got muted, Corey, but I unmuted you. Can you... Oh, wait, no, that's my scene. Yeah, Corey's not muted. Why can't... I'm gonna unmute the Corey screen share and see if maybe Corey is somehow getting muted by both things. That would be so dumb. Just like deafen him. Are you trying to talk, Corey? Can you try to talk?
Testing now.
Yeah. Oh, how annoying! So imagine, Corey, it shows you separately from your screen share, and there's a separate mute button and a separate deafen button on both things. But if I click the mute on your screen share, it mutes you.
Yeah.
That's a problem because now I'm sure they're hearing the echo again. And I can't think of how to fix that right now. We'll have to
There
research
is-
I
that.
think the only solution is when Corey screen shares, he has to make sure he disables share system audio.
Oh, that might be possible. Oh, yeah, there's audio settings here. Let me see. Literally, when I
Yeah,
click it,
there's
nothing
something.
pops up. Do you have any
Doing
audio?
that.
No, that's additional controls. Audio. Yeah, nothing pops up for me. Do you have any settings to be able to turn off the audio share on the screen share?
I mean,
Sorry about
according,
my echo, guys.
according to our back end, the only thing I
Yeah.
ever shared audio wise was my microphone, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean in Video Ninja, right? There doesn't seem to be any kind of option on your end.
When you first share it, there's a box you can uncheck, but after that, I don't know.
Is there really? Or I guess stop sharing and share again, Corey, and see if this time you see a checkbox for sharing audio.
Okay, I stopped sharing.
Yeah.
And let's see what it says. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hopefully that will fix the echo.
It has also share system audio, but it was not
definitely
checked
that.
by default. So I don't think I was doing that.
Oh, that sucks. This is definitely some kind of either bad UI or just bad oversight in Video Ninja. All right, I guess stop screen sharing for now since the.
I actually technically did, so the fact that you're
All
still
right.
showing it just means
I'll turn
probably-
off the
it's probably
highlight
just
and-
showing what was there before on your end.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your patience, everybody. So, turn off highlight. Yeah, that got rid of that. Hopefully, doing that and switching back to the regular scene, standard scene. Hopefully that got rid of the echo. Sorry, guys, and thanks for your patience. You would never assume Furmo Monkey would be patient with a name like that, but you know, they're known to fling stuff. But anyway, let's see. Let me make a little more progress. I think I'm not going to keep live streaming too much longer. My apologies in advance to Jared if he ends up popping in just a moment too late. But like I said, it's getting late here, and I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm gonna wind it down relatively soon. Was there any topic we had already started discussing that we kind of digressed away from because of the technical issues or anything like that? Anything else anyone wants to say?
There
we
was
mention
one
that? Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
question that Torden had about Metro Siege and one-button joysticks. I didn't notice if you responded. to
Great question. Yeah. We had these discussions very early on, the programmer and the musician of Metro Siege, when I agreed with them to work with them on an Amiga project. They basically had seen a bunch of mock-ups of different styles of games that I had made showing how Amiga games could have looked, and that's how they found me in like an Amiga forum somewhere. They saw the different mock-ups I had made, and they had just finished their game Worthy. So the musician slash artist of Worthy talked to Alex Brown, who at the time I had never met before, said, hey, this artist is really good. Look at these mock-ups. Since we just finished Worthy, maybe I'm sure they had no idea back then that the project would take 8 years. But but they contacted me and said, hey, if you could turn one of these mock-ups into a real game, what game would you want to make? And I had literally taken a screenshot of the
Um,
very. Go ahead, Chris.
did they say game or did they say Amiga game?
Amiga game.
Okay,
It was very specifically purely Amiga, Metro Siege Act
that's what I
First.
thought.
Yeah. And so I said I would want to make the beat 'em up the most, but that's way more work. And that mock up I had made, I literally took a screenshot of the very inadequate Final Fight port to Amiga, where it was not the fault of the programmer at all. He was given no help, a tiny budget, and like 6 months to make a port of a AAA arcade game to classic Amiga in like 512K RAM. It's ridiculous. He did a fantastic job, but he had everything going against him. And so I took a screenshot of that, and then I repainted everything, repixeled over everything, showing what an Amiga beat 'em up game could have looked like if a really technically knowledgeable and skillful team worked on it and had an adequate budget like the AAA Mega Drive games of the day might have had. And so anyway, long story short, oh, hold on one second. My son just got home. I think he may have forgotten he has the food. One second. Sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, I myself, the only one button experience I ever had was the old Atari 2600 joysticks. I remember using those a little bit.
I used the Commodore 64, so I was quite familiar with it. Some of those games you had to press the space bar to sort of act like a second button,
Right.
or up being jump. You get used to it, but there are games where you want up to be able to do more. Like if you want to shoot upwards, and then you end up in weird situations where you have to like hold the attack button and press up. You can't just make snapshots and stuff.
I remember I had an old early PC kind of. It was like one of those. It was another like hand-me-down thing, but it was like one of those flight stick sort of things.
Yeah.
But it had suction cups on the bottom, so you could mount it like on the desk. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we had
you
one
could
of
mount
those.
it. Yeah.
But you just reminded me why this whole conversation started about the one button thing. So thanks for getting me back on track while I was getting distracted. So one of the many things I said, the game I would want to make the most would be the beat 'em up, but that would take the most work, the most artwork. It would be the most technically demanding, and the only way we'd be able to finish all the moves I would want in memory is to do modular animation. And then I explained to Alex Brown what that was, because I may have not even been using the term modular animation then, which he may have known. And I explained all the body parts. He said, okay, can you make an example? Luckily, I was the person that made the first ever super crusty prototype of the tool now known as Spriter. And I had programmed that myself using a precursor to Multimedia Fusion, or it was an early version of Multimedia Fusion back then, which is kind of like Construct but more crusty. But anyway, I took like a year or something to make the prototype. Luckily, that was just a good enough tool where I made an example of a fighting game character in an idle animation made out of the separate body parts. I sent him that example file and the body part images, and the next day he had that animation playing back perfectly on the Amiga. And I knew this was going to work out. I knew this was like a great programmer to work with. Yeah, Spriter, the Steam app. So I used that prototype to get in touch with and impress enough the person that became the real programmer of Spriter, the actual app that you can use on Steam now. And so it's one of those things. Like one of my favorite expressions is success is the act of failing repeatedly in the right direction. So I knew modular animation would revolutionize a lot of indie game dev, and there was no publicly available tool. Every studio that used such technology made their own proprietary tool that they kept a secret from everyone else. And so I knew that it could be this super useful thing. But the problem was the only people that understood the value were people that I worked with in the industry who all signed NDAs. So like I needed a real programmer to make the tool with me to do it right. And all of them understood the value of a modular animation thing because they worked in the industry and they worked with modular animators. They understood, but they were terrified of making something similar to a proprietary tool of the studio they signed an NDA contract and a non-compete contract with. So then I had to try to explain the value to the general public of a modular animation tool, and I tried to find a like general programmer in the public that would understand it, and they just weren't interested because they never saw how useful it was. So then in order to prove to the general public how useful it was, I had to take it upon myself, a non-programmer, to figure out how to make such a tool, and that was the prototype of Spriter, which was a complete failure commercially. I tried to sell it myself. I think I sold it for like $7. I think I made a total of $14
Hey,
in
Mike,
sales. Yep, go ahead, Chris.
this isn't answering the one button question, really.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This is a long way around.
Walking around the entire
But
forest.
someone asked about Spriter. Yeah, exactly. But the whole point is, one of the other things I said we could not compromise on is like I know the Amiga community, like you'll have to drag their grandpa one button joystick, Atari style joystick, out of their cold dead hands. But if we make a beat 'em up game, I don't want it to be a good beat 'em up game for the Amiga. I want it to be a very good console beat 'em up game. So we need to just declare minimum 2 buttons required, period. An Amigan might be able to use keyboard buttons for the 2 buttons, or there are plenty of available multi-button joysticks now that you can get for the Amiga. Especially these days. For many decades, it was rare and expensive to get a multi-button joystick. But now there are plenty of options, and I was just like, we should not even bother spending the time, all the extra code and logic to support a single button is way more work than it's worth to like cater to a lowest common denominator. Like we're already sacrificing an enormous amount of work to make it work on Amiga. We should not put in a whole bunch of work to make an inferior gameplay version of the game. Like if you want to play
there
a
are
beat 'em
lots
up,
of modern options, right, for Amiga
exactly.
or multiple controllers. So.
Like probably half Amigans now use emulators, so they can use an Xbox gamepad. Right. And then I think of the people that go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I think an important thing to point out with the extra work too is the testing.
Yeah.
A lot of people overlook, even if the implementation in theory isn't terribly complicated, you have to test that all of that stuff works to get correctly with all the characters under different situations.
And literally,
so it's a lot more than people realize.
And we're at the point with Metro Siege on the Amiga that to get in the tiniest change to the logic or add an even like 2-frame move, keeping in mind that 2-frame move would use no new art. It would reuse the same body parts that already exist. But just the positional data was too much. It was blowing out the memory. So to try to have the logic that supports how to get out your moves in 1 button and the logic for 2 buttons at the same time it would either not fit in memory or it would further hurt the performance. And like in both respects, we're so pushing the extreme of what the classic Amiga could do that every choice, everything we support, every option has to be incredibly carefully weighed. So I hope that answered the question. But yeah, I definitely can get the Grandpa Simpson syndrome of we wore an onion in our belt, which was the style at the time. Kind of old man digression.
Mike, can you play Metro Siege with a mouse? I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is, like the Amiga mouse does it shares the port with player 2, I think. Is that it, Chris? So, like, in other words,
Yeah.
in most Amiga games, you have your gamepad or joystick hooked up to port 2, and that controls player 1 games usually. And on 2-player games, you would have to unplug your mouse and plug in a joystick in the mouse port.
Did the mouse
Yeah.
like kind of work though? Like
Yeah,
in a
that's the
weird
funny thing.
way
It
for the second
sends
player?
freaky signals.
Okay.
It sends
Yeah.
freaky signals. So technically, you can play Metro Siege, the Amiga version, with a mouse, but it would be impossible to control well.
Right.
You'd
Yeah,
be
you're
doing
not really
weird, like
playing it.
swiping your mouse around to try to get
That's
your
funny.
character to walk the right way, and all kinds of funny stuff. Yeah. So I just keep noticing minor perspective issues and stuff on the forklift that I'm tweaking. But like I said, my son's home now, and gonna want to go to bed soon and stuff like that. So I'm gonna wind it down pretty soon. So were there any other topics? I swear I had thought of one.
I think
and
the
yeah.
cheapest way to get a 2-button controller, or simplest, might be to grab a Master System controller from somewhere.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh good. I got scared for a second. Have you ever gone to save something and then the little progress bar shows up for way too long that it's saving? And it's like,
Yeah.
are you corrupting my save file right now? Are you crashing while I'm
I
saving?
think the worst one that ever happened to me is I had a power flicker right at the instant I was saving a specific work file, and
corrupted.
It corrupted the file. Yep. Because it partially saved. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
we dealt
terrible.
with that a lot in the parent household when we were growing up. Which is why I developed my habit of saving incessantly. Because you never know when suddenly the power's going to go out. But anyway, there was something else. What did you just say, Chris, before I digressed about being afraid of the power thing? Sorry.
Was that after or before the Master System controller?
Oh, wow, your memory is so good on what the topic was. Do you remember, Chris, that whole hoopla and the fear that if you plugged in a Master System or Genesis game, and maybe it was specifically Genesis, but I could have swore it was Master System too. Like there were technical-minded people in the Amiga community that swore up and down and just absolutely vehemently said you are risking literally burning out your Amiga by
I
plugging
think there
in
might
Master
be
System.
a button on the Genesis pad that might send like 5 volts back to a place it shouldn't.
Yeah, I know it was.
There might be a little adapter you can get that protects that from happening.
What I remember reading back in the day was that there was a soldering thing that you could do that made it safe. You literally had to open up. Am I saying it right? Is it soldering or soldering?
Soldering is
Soldering.
the US way to say.
Yeah. Anyway, are there any other... yeah, Master System, like I said, Chris and I had one. There were a couple of gems on it. To me, by far, my favorite Master System game to this day is Wonder
Black
Boy
Belt?
3: The Dragon Trap. No, that's
Dragon Trap.
that's the runner-up, absolutely. Choplifter, Black Belt, and Dragon Boy: The Wonder Trap. But,
Space Harrier was
Wonder
pretty
Boy: The
cool.
Dragon Trap. Yeah, it was cool, but to me that didn't have.
And
a
the
ton of
3D
replay
actually
value.
worked pretty well.
Yeah. The perspective. They used the tile animating trick for the giant objects, which is why
The
background
3D
didn't disappear.
glasses.
Oh yeah, no, the
Oh,
3D
yeah.
glasses were great on the.
There was a
It
Space Harrier that worked with the 3D glasses. And I
It
think you
actually
got to try
used
it.
the liquid crystal on-off for left and right eye, flickering really fast instead of CMYK.
Yeah, the
Not
glasses
CMYK,
actually...
anaglyph, cyan. Yeah.
The interesting thing about the 3D glasses is it slid into the card port on the Master System, and they removed that port from one of the later models,
Yeah.
so they weren't compatible with 3D.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it
The
is
closest
a shame.
I never had a
Okay.
Master System. The closest I came was I briefly had a Game Gear, which was kind of
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah,
a
that's almost
tiny
exactly
Master
the same thing.
System. Yeah,
Yep.
with better color fidelity or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked it for a little
It had
while.
It had a much higher bit depth per color, so it could display better colors. But
Yeah, there's a lot of
almost every
interesting things
game,
about the Master
yeah.
System, including like Tonka Toys was the U.S. distributor. 'Cause
Was it
Sega didn't.
distributor or manufacturer or both? Probably
I
just
don't
distributor. When you
remember
think
if
about
they
it.
did any of the manufacturing, but I know that they were into the U.S. market.
I played
Yeah.
around with art, you know, based on the technical specs of Master System for a little
Yeah, yeah.
while. But yeah.
It had
Yeah.
better graphics than the NES,
Way
but
better.
unfortunately, when they released the Master System in the USA, they didn't release it with the FM sound chip, so the NES has superior sound to the Master
Yeah.
System, even without the extra chips that came in later cartridges.
Yeah. To answer the question in the chat, I think the Game Gear could not literally run. I think the only handheld system back then, or close to back then, that could run the full console version of games was the Turbo Express, which was a portable TurboGrafx 16. And
There
that
might
was
have
the
been
only
an
one that
adapter
literally
though.
took the Hue cards. The Master System, um, the screen resolution was completely different, so I think it was super easy to port the games. But I don't
Yeah,
think that you could just directly run it because you'd be missing a giant chunk of the screen.
yeah,
The
but there
way,
might have been an adapter to let you use the Master System cartridges, but it cropped the screen or
Yeah,
They
something like
did it.
that.
They did it with
yeah,
Mega Drive Genesis with like the Nomad or
the
whatever.
Nomad, that
Yeah,
was like a generation
but
later. I
not
was going to
for I
mention
guess
that one.
Master System. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just it's
the
more
Turbo
about
Express was
the
so
screen
yeah,
resolution is different. I think for Game
yeah,
Gear and so
exactly.
there's. But I think
They
it's just the technical specs as far as like the amount of sprites and things was
Yeah, the
very
logic,
similar.
the
Yeah,
main
and layering and
processor.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
porting
Mega
was
Drive
super
was
easy
backwards
then.
compatible with the Master System.
What was?
The Mega Drive, the
Yeah, that
power
was
converter
cool.
that you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
get was doing little more than adding the ports for the Master System games to plug into.
Yep. And the cool thing is, like, isn't it that the main processor for the Master System still exists in the Mega Drive, but it's like a
Yeah,
helper chip,
yeah, it's the
and the
80 or
sound
Z80
chip.
depending on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where depending on where you live. But yeah, but the Master System sound chip is also in the Mega Drive
Yeah,
and accessible, so
yep,
musicians can actually use the Master System sound chip as well as the Mega Drive sound chip for Mega Drive
yeah,
games,
that's the
which is
norm. In fact,
pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
those square wave generators.
yeah. But yeah, it's the Master System was ahead of its time. It could display every last tile, every last sprite could be 16 color instead of 3 color plus clear on Nintendo or transparent, which already blows the Nintendo out of the water graphically. But then, like, every sprite, every graphic tile, but then it had two separate 16 color palettes. And I can't remember if it's the sprites and the tiles or just the tiles. But one of the things can use either set of 16 colors. I think it's the tiles. But I could have that backwards. It could be
I
the
think
sprites.
I think it was possible to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the tiles. Yeah, like the tile
Yeah.
map.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. And unlike the Amiga, the 8-bit Sega Master System, hang your head in shame, Amiga. The 8-bit Master System could flip the tile graphics horizontally or vertically or both, but could not do it with the sprites, whereas the 8-bit Nintendo could do it with the sprites and the tiles, I'm pretty sure. But in
They would have.
general,
I
the
think
Master
it might have
System
been
was
the
a graphical
opposite. I think
powerhouse.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
the
yeah.
NES could do it with tiles. But it
Tiles,
could with
oh, but
sprites.
only
Yeah,
sprites. That's
it's
hilarious.
reversed. Yep.
But
Yep.
in my opinion, it's way more useful to have the sprites flippable for most games. Like
I
side-scrolling
think
platformers, beat 'em
if
ups.
you look at the architecture of the Amiga, though, it wasn't tile based, so you can
Yeah,
understand why all that flipping wasn't built in.
yeah,
It would have been nice if the Blitter could have done that. Kind of like it would have been
yeah,
nice if you
exactly.
could
Yeah,
mix the Paulus for sound channels to left and right
yeah,
in different volume levels, but probably the constraints of what the chip designers were able to do, they just couldn't
yeah.
do it.
I have
I mean,
adapted with
yeah. Go
Mega
ahead, Corey.
Drive to take full
Yeah,
advantage of flip tiles because, like, all of the
yeah. Oh,
backgrounds and Metal
absolutely.
Mac and everything, every 8 by 8 pixel tile can be flipped
Yep.
in the environment. So it's good to be mindful of that. You can save a ton of space and memory that way.
Yeah, if you want to see a good example of what the Master System was capable of, look at the first level of Aladdin on the Sega
Oh
Master
yeah,
System.
yeah.
That's where they really put good use to the Master System. Sadly, you could tell what they did. Like they spent all their budget on the first level as far as like memory, cartridge
Right.
size, and
Yeah.
programming time. They probably like did that to impress Sega, not Sega, impress Disney and get the rights to make it. You know what I mean? For the Master System, whatever dev team did it. But then, like every other level, like that first level has so much
They had
parallax
they had no
and just
time for
yeah, they
the
just
rest of the
couldn't
game.
program all that custom parallax and stuff, and they had already used up so much of the cartridge space for the graphics for level one that like every other level, don't get me wrong, it still looked very high quality for a Master System game, but level one is like mind.
Oh, when you were mentioning great games for the Master System, Rambo was a great game.
Yeah, that was really fun if you had a second player, like
Yeah.
a brother or friend to play with.
Was it like
Absolutely.
what kind of game
I
was it?
Carry
Was it like
Warriors,
oh yeah, like a top down. I used to love
overhead
yeah
shooting.
those style. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a good one.
Remember
Rocky
when
had
we got
some
the super
very
grenades?
impressive graphics.
The
Yeah,
super
yeah,
grenades in Rambo would split
yep,
into 4 shrapnel pieces, and we
yep.
got good, and we were like, "Don't worry about it. You can, as long as you don't throw the super grenade on me, I'll just
Yeah,
dodge
dodge
whatever
it.
you shoot."
Yeah,
There were good
absolutely.
NES games like that I played, and I loved them a lot. I like that genre, like the
Yeah,
top down kind of arcade shooter, style.
yeah. I just remembered because I looked at the chat that there was one more point I wanted to make, which is completely a dead topic now in our conversation. But since it's on my mind, the other point I was going to make that was interesting is for the technology to work and be affordable back then, the way they made the Turbo Express be able to play the real what were they called? Hue cards in at least in Japan, I think
I
that's what they
think
were
so.
called. The way it worked was the monitor, the screen on the portable system was half the resolution, but the system was literally cutting out every other column and every other
Hmm.
row of graphics. So of
Hmm.
course, most games, if it were not an action game, if it was an RPG, when you played it on the go, the fonts or the HUD completely unreadable. Because imagine taking a low res font and you
Yeah.
remove every other column and every other row of pixels on your letters. What
Yeah.
happens to those letters? But it was still a very clever idea and it made it portable. And for an action game, it didn't matter too much.
Yeah. And portable
Um,
screens weren't going to be very big back then.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They couldn't afford to have that kind of resolution or that many
And that was the
pixels.
biggest battery drain too. That's why the Game
Oh,
Gear
yeah, that's a great
famously
point.
ripped through batteries like no tomorrow.
Yeah,
And the
it was
Lynx,
Yeah,
Game Gear was very large and had a very small screen on it. You know what I mean? It was
yeah,
limited.
absolutely. But okay, I've said this many times. I think I'm finally going to do it and shut up. And
yeah, the stream's been over 3 hours too. It's pretty
yeah,
much a good time to wrap it
yeah.
up.
Hmm.
But anyway, thanks to everyone so much who stuck with us and joined and gave us the feedback about the echo. Could one of you two actually note that because my typing would be loud on the screen, loud to the stream? Just type down a note somewhere that I'll get in a chat to find out how to mute a screen share in Video Ninja.
Hmm.
That's the last giant thing we need to figure out. We got the other stuff working decently well. You're very welcome. Thanks so much for being so interactive with us, Gordon. Um, yeah, it's a pleasure. We'll get better and better at this, and we'll start doing it frequently and on a consistent schedule. That's just a matter of weeks away. But yeah, when I'm less exhausted, I promise I'll be way more productive during the streams. But I'm also doing a huge amount of work off stream to wrap up Neo Geo Damon Claw, the printed goods for the deluxe add-ons for Damon Claw, and continue to make progress on the PC version of Damon Claw, and just it's been an enormous amount of extra work on top of everything, just figuring out how to make these live streams actually function. So again, we really appreciate you and everyone else who is tuning into these very early, very low quality live streams at first. And thanks very much, Corey and Chris, for joining me. You tried to join me last time too, but I just didn't see the notification.
Yeah, we had a few
Ninja.
issues. Yeah.
Oh
issues
yeah,
with that last
it's
time.
so overwhelming at first, and literally, like there was no notification.
There's also the
Yeah.
like the thing I'm noticing now, which I made another note of for you
Yeah.
on the back
Awesome.
end. Is
Thank
like
you.
when I did return and stopped sharing screen, it's like now my portrait's gone or something.
Yeah,
But,
exactly, and that
but
didn't
it's
happen
still
the first time you left.
yeah,
and
we
came
have to
back.
figure out like what's the right thing to do to switch that back
Yeah,
over or something.
exactly.
Too.
Like it's one of those
Little
things.
stuff.
Video Ninja is free and awesomely useful, but there's definitely some things. If it weren't free, I'd be complaining much more vehemently about how some of these things are so unintuitive and potentially buggy. Like, why does it still show that you have your avatar, but it didn't show back up? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like when you left
Yeah.
and came back, those kind of things. But we'll figure it out. And all right, so yeah, I'm actually going to shut up now and wind the stream down. I guess I'll end the stream by showing the game trailers again, and then, but you guys, you won't be able to be heard in the meantime, so you guys could just, leave as soon as you see the game trailers on my screen. And yeah, I'll be back definitely again some other time this week, and I hope to do a minimum of 2 streams a week, and then eventually more than that. Eventually, hopefully, like pretty much every weekday. So stay tuned for that, and thanks again, everyone. Thanks for those of you who ended up following, and we'll be back again soon.
Play styles, and plenty yet to be. This is Metal Mac, bringing back action-packed run-and-gun gaming to the classic consoles you love. With an original soundtrack by legendary game musicians Chris Hulsbeck and Alistair Brimble. Featuring tons of platforming challenges, combat variety, and special ability upgrades. Back the retro physical editions for your classic console. Upgrade to deluxe editions for extra collectibles, or get them as add-ons. You can also get a Steam Digital Edition, which will let you play both versions of the game. Inspired by your favorite classic games with new surprises. With a wide variety of levels, boss fights, gameplay styles, and plenty yet to be revealed. In the future, humanity's robots have gone rogue, and only our hero Metal Mac can save the day. Back it now, while you can.
This is Metro Siege, bringing true 16-bit beat-em-up action that feels different at its core. Featuring sophisticated combat with blocks, grabs, counterattacks, many ways to hit enemies while they're down, and more. With an atmosphere and aesthetic more closely based on the vigilante movies that inspired the genre. The combat in Metro Siege is designed to keep the player engaged, weighing risk versus reward and adapting to the ever-changing situation. Hold block to defend from weak attacks, but stronger attacks might still do some damage, knock you back, or knock you down. A perfectly timed block, however, will parry and automatically counterattack, doing bonus damage to the enemy. Will you take the extra risk of a perfectly timed block to beat an enemy with style, to get back much needed health in a pinch? Or do you keep your distance, play defensively, and let player 2 handle things? While there are many safe ways to hit enemies while they're down, you could deal extra damage more quickly with a knee drop. But if an enemy moves out of the way, you'll be the one taking damage and be left prone to attacks yourself. Metro Siege is in production for Amiga, Neo Geo, and PC, and we're carefully crafting each version to add differences in gameplay and maximize the visual quality for each platform. To fit the large amount of character animations on the Amiga version, we made each frame from reusable body part images, but for Neo Geo it will all be hand-drawn for maximum quality and fluidity, and everything on screen will use more color and have greater detail and variety. The modern version uses the Neo Geo graphics as a base, but makes it widescreen, adds translucent effects, highly customizable CRT filters, and more. Back Metro Siege now for the system you love, or get the digital version and check out the cool collectibles like the soundtrack CD, deluxe trading cards, or the BitBeam bonus round strategy guide magazine with behind the scenes and making of articles, interviews, a Metro Siege art gallery, and more. Are you up for the challenge? Back it now, bring a friend.
Try Alex.
Yeah.
Press the button again. Stage 1, ready? Oh yeah, that's a grab attempt. Oh, that feels pretty good. Okay. This game's good. Game's good.
Damon Claw takes things back to classic fast-action arcade gaming with frantic combat against non-stop swarms of enemies and sophisticated boss fights. After some practice, a player can battle through from the beginning to the gratifying victory over the final boss in a single sitting. Damon Claw offers a classic arcade-style experience. It's not a platformer, and there's no backtracking or grinding. Just non-stop combat progression until you reach the final showdown. Mix things up with 3 difficulty settings, a sophisticated scoring system, additional play modes such as survival and boss rush, and a very different second playable character. Mix things up even more with tag team mode, where 1 or 2 players can swap who's playing at any point during the battle to save mankind. Swap in to let the other character or player regain health for a while. Right now, Damon Claw's in early adopter status. It includes the complete Mega Drive version and the currently work-in-progress modern version. And once it's ready, you'll also be able to play the Neo Geo version. Over the course of many frequent updates, Damon Claw's modern and Neo Geo versions will continue to be finished and refined. And speaking of replay value, far beyond just the differences in visuals and audio between these 3 versions of Damon Claw, the second playable character for each of them will be exclusive to each version, with very different appearances, abilities, and playstyles. Join the battle to save humanity from the varied Zverkin armies and help us make the 2 unfinished versions of Damon Claw the best they can be with your valued feedback. We really appreciate your support and hope you have a blast.